Zulus, they had nice bows and arrows, but how bravely you face one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Sham. Come let us hear you tell how you stand a brave Parnell, and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Sham. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lakes of Sham. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Hey. What's going on? How's it going, y'all? Good to see so many people here early. Holy shit, I think this is the most people who've been here early in a long time. We got Just Johnny, we got B-Rap, we got Ninny161, we got Steph, we got Lexi, we got Gobs, we got Middle Earth Marxist, we got Peanut Butter Princess, we got Splootnewt, we got One Who Reads. How is it going? Did I say Lexi West? Good to see you, long time no see. How's it going? I'm still just finishing my dinner, chat, so you'll have to forgive me. Yeah, still kind of doing a little bit of dinner. But listen, I got, you know, cheeky little preview of, for you of what we could potentially be looking at all evening. Yeah, cheeky little preview, because he's calmed down quite a lot from yesterday. Look at him. Look at him there. All snuggled up, isn't he? I think the camera's a little out of focus. Hold up. Hey, TTK, what's up? Let me just, there we go. That looks a bit better. And, oh yeah, no, that's as in focus as it could get. Hey, Ace Cat, what's up? The boy is here. He does not take belly rubs. Absolutely fucking not. No way. Not in a million years. I made the mistake of, because I felt so bad for him yesterday, because you know I told you yesterday he was barbering. He was like pulling his fur out and stuff because he was stressed. I thought, well, I'll let him stay in my room. I'll let him sleep in my room while he's upset, you know? And I woke up at about 4 a.m. to him like clawing my hand. Like fucking clawing my hand. I was like, oh, little dude. It is 4 a.m. It is 4 a.m., bro. So, you know. But he's doing a lot better today, which is good. How's it going, everyone? It's good to see you. What you been up to today? What's going down? Sent off a demands letter yesterday for one of my comrades at the union. Going through some real stress that I can't get into, obviously, just on stream. But she's really going through it with her landlord and letting agent. And so I sent off her demands letter, which includes a sizable demand for compensation yesterday. We're talking, you know, a lot of money. I can't really say how much it is because I don't want to, you know what I mean? I can't talk about that stuff. But I sent that off at like 5 p.m. last night, and I thought, they're not going to get it till tomorrow morning, so they'll probably miss it. We'll have to send them a physical letter. So I sent off a physical copy to the landlord and to the letting agent as well, yeah? And this morning at 10 a.m., they got back to us, and oh boy, they are rattled. They are fucking rattled. And you know how I can tell that they're rattled, yeah? It's because, A, they got back to us within an hour of us saying, oi, you've broken the law, right? Multiple times. So, pay up, basically. And the first thing that they tried to do was not to say that they hadn't done any of the things that we were accusing them of. It's not even accusing because there's evidence for all of it. The first thing they did was try to defame our member. They tried to say, this woman is lying to you, she's done all this, she's done all that, she's lied, etc., etc., etc. And she was very upset by that, right? She was very upset, our member. And I said, look, you know, I gave her a ring and I just said, look, it's all right. I know that they're gaslighting you. They're gaslighting all of us at this point, right? But don't worry, this is good. It's good. Because they are taking us seriously. They're taking our demands seriously enough to respond to us and try to get us to drop you as someone that we support. And I said, listen, even if all the things that they're talking about in that response were true, it doesn't change the fact that they've treated you like shit and they've broken the law. We would still stand up for you if all of that stuff was true. It doesn't matter. And she was like, okay, thanks for that. She was very thankful that I like took some time to speak to her and shit like that. But it's a mini victory, do you know what I mean? Because they're rattled. They're fucking rattled. So there you go. Very exciting. And on top of that, I've just literally got off the phone now to a couple of members who were, they got a bunch of disrepair. They got a bunch of horrible stuff, you know, like black mold, damp, all that shit going down. And all we did was we just informed them of their rights, innit? Do you know what I mean? They wanted to get out of the tenancy agreement, And we just said, you've got 90 days as a consumer in the UK. You could just say, yo, I am invoking my right to unwind from the contract. You missold this flat to me. You said it was a flat that you could live in, right? And we can't. You know, one of the members has got fucking fungus infection all up her arm and shit. Do you know what I mean? And so we basically said to him, look, you know, and this is the key here, chat. We empowered them, yeah, to write a letter on their own, like without any tenants union, you know, official letterheading or anything like that. Just like, hey, you're fucking us over. We're invoking our right to unwind. Please let us out of this contract. In fact, not even please. We're getting out of this contract now because of all this stuff. And literally today, when we were supposed to have a meeting because they'd responded a bit shittily to begin with, we were supposed to have a meeting to write a letter together with the official tenants union letterhead and all that stuff to say, oi, dickheads, time to sort this out. Otherwise, we're, you know what I mean? We're gonna do some union stuff that you're not gonna like. And they came round this afternoon and they were like, this is terrible. We're so sorry. We're gonna fix everything. It's really, really bad. We thought that we'd got it sorted, but it obviously hasn't. So give us a week and we'll get everything in order. So mini victory. That was without even getting involved with the tenants union. They haven't even mentioned that they're speaking to the tenants union. That was just informing them of their rights. That's how powerful knowing your rights is, chat. Yeah, that's how powerful it is. It was really, really good. It was really, really good to hear that. So I'm feeling great about that. I'm feeling so fucking good. Yeah, all landlords are bastards. They literally are bastards. And you know, this shit today, with them trying to defame our member, you know, it was like, I just use that as an example to show our member exactly where they are in the power struggle and where we are in the power struggle. Do you know what I mean? And I was saying, look, you know, this isn't the only example of this that I've seen this month, let alone this week, you know? So absolutely fucking mental. But here we go. We got some new people in the chat. We got Birdie Blake. How you doing, Birdie? Good to see you. Roll of the D. How are you doing? GG Tenant wins. Yeah. It's popping. Really, really good. Love the victories. Yeah. Well, they're mini victories for the time being. I'm quite confident with that first one that we're going to get a decent amount of money for our member because she's really been through the mill. And these landlords, this letting agent, they made the big mistake of being very public, having a very public, famous, you know, sort of public-facing social media and stuff. So we're going to drag them. Joined a mutual aid org recently. They were starting a new book in their book club. Hopped in and joined to meet them on Monday, and the book rocks. It's called Let This Radicalize You. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Birdie says I'm now 100% done with that commission. Let's go. We're getting wins today. Wins and wins and wins, chat. Let's go. Happy to hear it. Can I get a shout out for Goblin Hugger, please? TTK. Because they're an amazing streamer and they deserve all your love. Little Catmate is being so cute today. Wants so many pets. That's really sweet. I'm really happy for you, Peanut Butter Princess. Combat wheelchair art? Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go. Let's go. You all see the Elden Ring trailer today, by the way? I watched that as well. I saw that. It was very exciting. You know I'm going to be streaming it. It's up there. No, it's not a new Elden Ring. It's a DLC. Yeah. Those rings are pretty old. They're pretty old, aren't they? Yeah, they're pretty old. I mean, there's not really much point in watching it. I will say that. Because it's like, it's just gameplay. And it's like, well, you know, some people don't want to see the gameplay. So, that's fair enough. But it's been announced. It's coming out in June. So that's really cool. Very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. An anonymous person donated, by the way, while I was offline. So whoever that is, thank you very much for the £5. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Chat, you too could get a personalized thank you by donating to the stream via the sub off Twitch link in the chat. And just in case anyone's lurking over on YouTube, not seen any chat messages yet, but there's the link for you too. Hopefully I get to be in a new job by June. Oh, are you doing interviews and applying and stuff, Johnny? I like watching people play Elden Ring, especially when they're having fun. I know it's not my kind of game, though. Oh, yeah, fair enough, yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it way too hard. I love it way too hard, yo. Sorry, let me just finish my food, by the way. I'm going to see if there's something I can show you that's pretty cool as well. Here's your boy on Saturday. Sorry, Sunday. Sunday. I don't know if you all could see that, so let's zoom in a little bit. There he is. There's your boy right there. Looking like a fucking... I don't know what I'm looking like. Looking like a 90s grunge dad. This was the first ever presentation I did in my entire life to like a room full of people. Like there was that many people there, innit? I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of fucking people here. I thought there might have been like 5 people there, innit? But there were so many people there. And I know pretty much like, I don't know, half of the room, I'd say. Handsome comrade for sure. Stop it. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Alone we beg, united we bargain. That's fucking right, Fallotters. Welcome in. How you doing? Which is good practice for public speaking. Yeah, definitely. Like, I said that to everyone there. Everyone was saying, like, wow, it was really engaging. And I said, well, I should fucking hope so, because it's my job, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if everyone was saying, yeah, it was really boring that? I'd have to rethink my entire life. No, it was really good. It was really successful. You know, it was quite engaging for people. Yeah, I'm pretty hopeful that like most of the people there, and this wasn't even everyone that was there. So a couple of people left before the end. Maybe even 3 people. I can't remember, but yeah. So it was a big room. It was a big day, and a lot of the people here are also like getting involved now in doing member solidarity, which I'm very, very excited for. And pretty much like, I want to say like half of them have pretty much already done the training and they're ready to go and do a dispute on their own with a bit of support. You know what I mean? So it's been really like, you know, this is a bit of a like, I wanted to boast a little bit about this because, you know, I'm just going to get this title off the screen because that's not what we're talking about yet. We're definitely not going to be talking about that until a little while. This is kind of a picture that shows the progress, like where sort of like not just me, but Connor, who's behind the camera, my comrade who's on the committee in GMTU, where we've gotten the union to. Because Connor organized the entire day and I just organized the presentation. Do you know what I mean? I did the presentation, PowerPoint, all that shit. Did the talking, But this is where we've got to. We've got to a point now where like we had a bunch of people turn up and be like, oh, this is how you do direct action with tenants union stuff. And it was really rad. So it feels fucking good, man. It feels fucking good. Like I did not think for a fucking minute that, you know, we would completely, even remotely, get this many people. I thought maybe like half of this amount of people. So yeah, there's nearly 20 people there. Crazy. Anyway, that's enough boasting. I'm still eating. Hey Mark, what's going on? Good to see you. Great work, mate. Thank you, TTK. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty proud. And it's such a weird and unique feeling as well, because I know that this isn't just down to me. It's the whole union. Right, exactly. To the whole union. It's not just me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel good about being able to like put my time into that. But you know, the fact that like everybody's willing to get involved and everybody's willing to support us and shit like that, like the committee, you know, are like, yo, here's some dough, get some food for this day. You know, you can tell people, yo, we got a day on, we're gonna do some training, we got some food, it's exciting, etc. Buzzing, you know, just absolutely buzzing. So it's really, really good. Yeah, I'm proud of everyone. I'm proud of everyone who's fucking involved. So great to see. Great to see. Not getting any interviews, but applying. Yeah, well, keep going, dude. Keep going. Honestly. That's what I love about streaming. I can watch games that I'd never be into playing. That's true. Streaming is very cool and based. Very, very cool and based. Something about the Erd Tree. Yeah, the Elden Ring thing. That's Shadow of the Erd Tree. That's what it's called. Shadow of the Erd Tree. PBP says, I can't wait to get involved. It was so awesome to meet real people face to face, like the first time since I moved here 2 years ago. That's the best thing about union action. That's the best thing about getting involved with a union, is that, like, you know, you basically, like, it's more than a family, innit? It's more than a family, because your family can be completely divorced from the reality of what it's like to be a renter. You know what I mean? So, you know, and a worker a lot of the time as well, you know, especially if you're like your parents or most of your family are retired, or, you know, maybe you got family that's like petty bourgeois, like my dad was, you know what I mean? So, you know, a union, just any kind of like leftist organization is just like fucking amazing. Okay, right. Back in a sec. All right, here we are. So, what have I got for you today? Well, the answer to that is I won't be burning my cock. Shout out to everyone who was there at the start of the stream yesterday. Hey, Mr. Piece of Work, how's it going? I just went to clean up my plate. Went to clean up my plate. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like the stream. Really helps me out. Hope you're doing good today. Yeah, what do we got for you today? Well, it's time to get mad at the US during their hearing of the International Court of Justice about Israel's genocide case. A public hearing. It's not even the genocide case. This is a new thing that the ICJ has just kind of like opened up on its own, I believe, where it's like, here we go, you know? Time to actually investigate what's going on with Israel. Let's see what these other countries got to say about it. Yeah. So we're going to be seeing what the USA has said. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine and no one's going to be upset. We're all going to be very happy with what they've said. You know? Hit that like button. Yeah, you know it. Hey, Ludo. What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. So that's what we're going to be checking out in a bit. Then we got a bunch of other stuff to do with Israel, Palestine that we're going to be having a look at. We got some stuff about the vote that happened today at the UK Houses of Parliament, and we got like a little bit of absurd Jacob Rees-Mogg stuff to go through, and then some like also quite interesting other stuff. And then we're going to be going full debate bro mode, and I'm going to be debating... No, I'm not. I'm not going to be debating anyone. I'm never going to do that, chat. Don't worry about it. The current ICJ case is actually from January 2023. Are you talking about, like, the one for the public hearing? That's crazy. Yeah, nah, we're not debating anyone. Don't you worry about it. But we are going to be watching Rabbi Shmuley. If you don't know who that is, don't worry. He's a fucking weirdo. Insane Zionist piece of shit bastard debating Norman Finkelstein. So let's go check that out. You know, let's see what they got to say. Apparently, it's absolute fucking brain rot. Yeah, it's not great. I thought you made a cute nickname you've made for yourself. No, I think that would be highly inappropriate saying that I'm a rabbi. I tell a lie, even earlier, December 2022. Seemed weird that you'd oppose Finkelstein. Well, Finkelstein is also, you know, a little problematic, but he's pretty based when it comes to Israel and Palestine and anti-Zionism and shit. So let's see what's going down. I'm debating whether I should make mint or rosehip tea. Damn, I don't even know what rosehip's like, but it sounds pretty nice. If it's anything like rose water, then hell yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's wild, TTK. That's wild. Okay, so there you go. That's what's going down. Is that fucked up superhero character they tried to create called Iron Dome, but as a human? Wait. What is this? What is this from? Is this just someone that like did some AI art or some shit? Introducing a new Israeli superhero, Iron Dome, the protector, defender of Israel. I mean, he looks like a supervillain, right? You know, look at that face. That's not exactly a, like, friendly, nice face, is it? My man with the fucking, like... You know? Looking like Venom out here. Cringe. As an American, I feel like I paid for that suit. Hell yeah, you did. You paid for this account to tweet about it. You know what I mean? Who is this? Stand with us? Education is the road to peace. We're fighting anti-Semitism. You know, there are so many of these accounts that have popped up now, yeah? That it's like, do you know what it is? This could easily just be some random dude in a Hasbara office in Israel. And they've paid for a blue check mark. And they're like, we're an official organization of the state of Israel. We're fighting anti-Semitism and supporting Israel around the world. This has got to be Hasbara shit. Where's this standwithus.com? Some fucking basic ass website. Home about. Let's have a little look here. Nothing about, like, who this is. Stand With Us is an international and non-partisan Israel education organization that inspires and educates people of all ages and backgrounds, challenges misinformation, and fights anti-Semitism. Copyright 2024, Stand With Us. Right, so they just started this year. The timer at the top? What's the timer? Time since hostages were kidnapped to Gaza. Hey, Zach, what's going on? Good to see you. Can we get a shout out for Zach App, please? TTK. You were invited to take part in a life-changing mission. to Israel. A life-changing trip to Israel. 10 remarkable days in Israel. Join Stand With Us executives and founders Roz and Jerry Rothstein, as well as Stand With Us Israel director Michael Dixon. All right, let's find out who these motherfuckers are. A British-Israeli writer and public speaker. He serves as executive director of the Stand With Us Israel office in Jerusalem. See? I knew it! Just some fucking guy who's paid by the Hasbara. Incredible, dude. I was fucking right. I was fucking right straight away. He's got a personal website. This is so good, man. The brain rot here is so insane. Michael Dixon, a personal blog featuring published articles and video appearances about Israel, anti-Semitism, Jewish issues, and public diplomacy. The Jewish issue of not being allowed to kill as many Arabs as you like with impunity. Literally born in London. Born in London. It's the same for every single one of these fuckers. Best-selling author Michael Dixon, the best-selling book is Resilience: What Israelis Could Teach the World. So the Is Resilience website, so completely. That's Shmuley. That's Rabbi Shmuley right there. That's the guy that's in the fucking the debate with Norman Finkelstein. What's this? What's this? Hold up.
Michael Dixon. Michael, you're up. Okay, calm down from this side.
Nah, actually, that's not Shmuley. That's someone who looks like him.
Israel is a country, unfortunately, constantly fighting for its survival.
Shut up, dude.
Stand With Us Israel, Anglia, בשנת 2006.
Why have they got like a thing up here like he's like dead or something? I don't understand what's going on. There he is. They're just playing a video of him.
Roz Rothstein and with our community of activists to stand up and make the case for Israel and push back.
Looks like it was churned out in 20 minutes. Yeah, it really was.
The Jewish state. I've had an opportunity to travel from China to Africa.
Hold up. What was that? The United Nations remains silent. Stop the what? Demand something? What are they? What's this about? They got like the fucking all these things on their mouth. This looks like something that was made in 2024. Oh no, it's 4 years ago. Okay, what the fuck are they talking about? That's wild. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Israel is a country that is sadly constantly fighting. Yeah, just end the sentence there, man. Generic inspirational music. Speech. What I told my daughter about Israel. Was it lies, Michael? Was it lies? Because I reckon it's probably going to be like... In Johannesburg, South Africa. Executive Director of Stand With Us Israel. In fucking Johannesburg. Thoughts on what's going to end up happening in 20 years from now, if you were to guess? That's a bit of a broad... In relation to what? In relation to what? In relation to this? Like Israel-Palestine or whatever? Or do you mean like in my life? Fuck knows, dude. I might be dead. Oh, you mean Israel. Right, okay. My 54th birthday. That's what I was going to say. I would be 54. Snap, Ludo. Holy shit. We're the same age. What's going on there? That's crazy. All right. Look, I don't think Israel's going to last that long. I'm going to be real. Israel is a state that is bent on self-destruction. And I'll tell you why. Pandora's box has been opened. Yeah? Pandora's box has been opened, and people all over the world are aware of what's going on in Israel now. It's even worse for Israel than it was for South Africa during apartheid, right? Because in apartheid, they weren't exactly like going crazy with the racism, right? They pretty much were going crazy with the racism, but not as much as Israel is, right? And I think that there will either be some kind of situation where they get involved in a war with a country on its border that they are completely unprepared for, where it ends up being like, because you got to imagine if they end up going into Syria, like they keep talking about, then they're gonna come across the fucking Rojava eventually, and they're like experienced guerrilla fighters who destroyed ISIS, and they've resisted Turkish genocide for almost 10 years, maybe longer. So, you know, I don't know what to expect. I don't know whether, like, you know, at the end of the day, Israel is going to want to expand. That's always been what it wants. And I have a feeling that either Egypt or Syria or maybe Saudi Arabia is just going to be the end of that. And I don't think that's going to take 20 years. I think that might even be just around the corner, which is unfortunate because it means more war and more death. But I don't think it's going to last for long. You know, the US keeps putting all this money into this fucking current genocide, and they still can't beat Hamas. I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think it's going to go well when they come up against, like, an actual, like, properly funded and trained army. I'm not saying that Hamas is not funded or trained. I'm just saying it's not in exactly the most unique position to defend itself. Or, like, you know, empowered position to defend itself. I guess there's best case and worst case, but it'll be something in the middle. I think we'll just see a free Palestine. I think Palestine will be liberated and it will be given back to the Palestinians. And I think that the Israelis who remain there will be very, very uncomfortable, and they'll leave and they'll go back to where they were from, which is Europe, the USA. And they will enter into fascist organizations in the countries that they were born. I think that's what's going to go down. One of my friends phoned me today because they've just started a new job, and they were like talking about, oh, actually, one of my new colleagues is just like an absolute fucking fascist psycho. And like, she sits right next to me, and she's just talking about how she's on Telegram, and, you know, she would not stop fucking talking about Israel. She just kept fucking talking about it, and how Arabs were disgusting, and they were cutting off women's breasts, they were cutting off men's dicks, you know, all this, like, nonsense, like, absolutely fucking absurd nonsense. You know, those kinds of people just can't, like, they just can't live in society with us. Because here's the thing, my friend wasn't even that bothered. Steph!
From the river to the sea.
Thank you so much for the £5. Thank you so much for subbing off Twitch. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. You too could sub off Twitch and support the stream by using the sub off Twitch command in the chat. Thank you very much. Let's go. We've only got another £15 to get to the midway point. Yeah? Midway point, even though we've only got like 7 days left of the year. The month. Sorry, brain bad. The main thing that my friend was upset about, you know, obviously she's pro-Palestine, but she wasn't really like talking too intensely about that. But the main thing that they were upset with was just like, I just didn't get any work done. Because this fucking idiot was just talking nonsense. And she's an anti-vaxxer as well, this woman. And it's like, just all this like absolutely absurd stuff. This anti-vax, this super Islamophobic racism. And she's on like Telegram channels, do you know what I mean? Like that's the worst of the worst. If you want to know how radicalized someone is when they're like talking about like basic fascist stuff, if they're on Telegram, they are in some of the worst communities, some of the worst social media communities, because Telegram is like where Tommy Robinson organizes. It's where all the IDF supporters, Israeli settlers, you know them, like that one that we kept seeing. I can't remember if I commented on it in streams that much, but when they had that like big lion's head and they were talking about these are the real Nazis, like calling every single Palestinian a Nazi, and they were calling themselves Nazi hunters and all that. You know, that is just like, that's the kind of place that happens, where they got the pictures with Palestinian kids with crosshairs on their heads and shit. All that shit. All that fucking shit. So, there you go. That's kind of what we're seeing. And those kinds of people, they just can't, like, you can't, like, it'll get to a point where they're so isolated that the only people that they're talking to will be other fascists. And so then they're just going to be trapped in this, like, circle jerk. It'll just have to be gulag or re-education camp. You know what I mean? Someone was saying it. I think it was, what's her name? I can't remember what her name is on Twitter. She's like Scarlet Communist or Lady Scarlet or something like that. She's Muslim. She wears a hijab, and I can't remember what her name is. But she was talking about, like, what are we gonna fucking do when we have a free Palestine? Because there's like 9 million Israelis over there that are just like absolutely foaming at the fucking mouth to murder as many Arabs as possible. At any point. Like, they don't give a fuck. Literally, they just want to fucking murder them all. And they've been, like, radicalized and brainwashed and propagandized. You know what I mean? Cult deprogrammers are going to have a lot of work to do. Well, that's it, right? You know what I mean? It's going to have to be, like, an entirely global effort to try and de-radicalize these idiots. You know, what do you fucking do about it? It's a really good point. There's generations of people raised on a lie. It's like my step family. It's like my stepbrother, my two stepbrothers, and my stepsister. They're so radicalized into this shit of, like, supporting Israel no matter what, that they disowned me. They literally disowned me. I've never done anything wrong to them ever in my entire life. You know what I mean? I've never once ever made fun of them for being Jewish or anything like that, despite the fact that their dad tried to force me to take part in Jewish traditions and shit, you know, like tried to make me to, you know, well, he successfully forced me to wear a yarmulke and eat Pesach and shit like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, whatever, man. Like, I just took that as him being a dickhead. I didn't take that as Jewish people being horrible. You know, never did anything like that. And then all of a sudden, just because I was talking about the actual reality of what's going on in Gaza, how Israelis dehumanize Palestinians, and not only that, but how they, like, psychologically torture Jewish people in the diaspora, which is not just like some far left conspiracy theory. Eli Valley has, like, you know, spoken about it as well. Maybe wear a kippah in the house, yeah. I want a kippah in a temple because that's just respectful, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? In the same way that I would, like, wash my feet if I went into a mosque, right? You just do that, right? That's just what you do. That's the whatever, right? I saw the Hamza Sada shorts where he interviews high schoolers in Israel and they incite genocide and shit. It's sad. Yeah, there's kids doing this, yeah. In the house is a bit odd. I know it is. This is what I mean. This is why I knew it wasn't like a, you know, a Jewish thing. I knew it was just him being a dickhead and trying to exert control over me. That's just the kind of guy that he is, you know. You know, and even, you know, through all that, I never once. It would be a lie to say that I've never, like, said or done anything actually anti-Semitic. That would be a lie. I definitely had some, like, very shitty things that I did in school to, like, other Jewish, well, not other Jewish kids, but, like, other, well, I used to, you know, this is the thing. I was so, like, that with fucking, you know, Judaism, because, like, that was my stepdad's religion and all that shit. So I'm much closer to that than Christianity. So it just kind of felt like I was, you know, part of, you know, a Jewish household kind of thing. But yeah, no, I've said some shitty things and done some shitty things to I think maybe one Jewish kid or two Jewish kids, you know, back in the day. But, you know, I don't think that's any worse than any other people have done. But like, you know, that's the amount of it. That's the fucking amount of it. I've not fucking done anything like that since then. And also like when specifically to them or in front of them. You know, the only thing I've ever done that they could misconstrue as being anti-Semitic is supporting Palestinians in their struggle for liberation, which is cringe. It's not anti-Semitic at all. Lady Izdihar, that's her name. Yeah. Lady Izdihar, that's what she was talking about. She was saying, what are we going to do about these 9 million extremely radicalized Israelis, man? You know? Because the thing is that, you know, the process to get, like, a person in the diaspora to Israel is, you know, every single rabbi that you come into contact with that's been, you know, radicalized is going to preach to you about Zionism, is going to preach to you about going to the homeland, going to the promised land and all this shit, fighting for your country, all that nonsense throughout your life, you know, bar mitzvahs, weddings, etc. And then, of course, you've got your parents. Like, if your parents are Zionists, if they're super radicalized themselves, then they're also going to be feeding you that propaganda. Yeah, it's just not fucking good. You know what I mean? It's like, but then, you know, as well, like, it gets you to a point where, like, you actually believe, like, this is the craziest thing, where, you know, you're a fucking white person in Europe or the US, and you believe that it's your right to go and live in the Middle East, in someone else's country. You know? Mental. What was Germany supposedly supposed to have done? What do you mean, dude? Germany supports Zionism wholeheartedly, and they fucking, like, the amount of fucking Jewish people that they have arrested for being, like, something about the you know, whatchamacallit, the, I can't remember what it was, man. There was a bit of data, there was some statistics, and it was fucking crazy. It was like 86% of the arrests for anti-Semitism in Germany have been of Jewish people. Of Jewish people committing anti-Semitism, being arrested by a white Aryan German guy, police officer, right? And they're arresting Jewish people for doing anti-Semitism when these people are just protesting Israel. Oh, after World War II, they didn't re-educate the Nazis or anything. No, they put the Nazis in positions of power, dude. Especially in West fucking Germany. You know, this is what everybody forgets. Like, they think that, like, oh yeah, the Allies went in and they saved everything. The only place in Germany where they successfully prosecuted and removed Nazis was in East Germany. East Germany, East Berlin. Right, yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's any kind of, like, partition that happens, if there's, like, an intervention globally where, like, the world descends on Israel, yeah? Or, you know, Palestine, and they, like, partition it, like, East-West Germany, you better believe that they're going to just start putting fucking Zionists in positions of power all over Palestine. You know? Makes zero sense, yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense to the fucking CIA. Yeah, the CIA unleashed Nazi guerrillas on the Soviets. Yeah, literally. You know? So, anyway, that's that. Anyway, listen, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to get more mad about this kind of stuff. Buckle in, everyone. We're getting into the politics category on Twitch. Get your hazmats on. There's a game Sorry, not a game. There's a place in Argentina that's strangely German. Hey, Mort. Yep. That's right. You guys watched the debate between Shmuley and Finkelstein? Well, first of all, just be mindful of using the word guys in here. We got lots of people who don't appreciate being called guys. Try and keep your collective, you know, your collective nouns gender neutral, please. That'd be great. But hi, Designer Gaze. Hope you're doing well. No, not watched it yet. Watching it in a hot minute. So, yeah, strap in for that. First up, we're going to check out the US argument of the ICJ. Apparently, it was nuanced, according to Al Jazeera. But let's, you know, we'll be the judge of that, won't we? You know? This is a muted tab. How funny. Got a lot of stuff to get used to over here, man. Get rid of that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Unmute, please. Yeah.
Acting legal advisor Richard C. Vicek, who was addressing the International Court of Justice at The Hague on day 3 of public hearings into the legal.
It's like a Jewish equivalent of one of those American televangelists. Yeah, yeah, I heard.
Decades, we heard the U.S. there.
Hey, MGG, U.S. nuance. I'm sure it won't be bullshit. It definitely will be. We've not gone into the politics section. Thanks, Splutnu. Yeah, let's remedy that. Are we getting this through our left ear?
Court against.
Are they? What is wrong with some news outlets? Monotechers. Boom. There we go, chat.
Issuing an advisory that would jeopardize the established UN framework for what he calls lasting peace. He said, such as the immediate withdrawal of Israel without addressing Israeli security needs within the Palestinian territories. Let's bring...
Chat, why is this happening, by the way? Why does this, like... Because I want this to stop fucking happening. Like, I go on full screen on YouTube in Chrome, and I just keep, like, you just see this. You just keep seeing my top tabs. I mean, is that annoying for people, or is it not? Are you not bothered? Shmuley also very enthusiastically helps his daughter run a Zionism-themed sex toy company out of Tel Aviv, which is a weird thing to do with your kid. Okay, Husker, you kind of ruined a reveal that I was gonna do, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's correct. That's true about him, and we're gonna have a look at that later on.
Bring in Marwan Bashar now. He's Al Jazeera's senior political analyst to discuss this further. Good to have you here, Marwan. You said earlier that you expected the US to defend Israel when it was indefensible. Do you think that's what it did?
But, yes, but in a very, very clever way. This is the kind of thing you would...
It's okay, Husker.
From a superpower, right? And this is
How you doing, dude?
It's anything but vulgar, right? I mean, it's very sober, very clever, and very sophisticated argument. It just doesn't make it any less absurd and any less dishonest, right? The overall message of the
oh, I'm sorry to hear it. Let's get some love for Husker in the chat, please.
The court should be at the service of the American...
What Zionism-themed sex toys? They're gonna invade Uranus? About to colonize that pussy?
An Israeli negotiation strategy.
Stop it.
Not that the American-Israeli negotiation strategy should abide by the court ruling.
When it was talking about the UN resolutions that had already been passed, you mean? The framework that exists?
When he said that, when he emphasized that all of this is subject to the framing of the negotiations, not that, for example, what at the heart of these sessions is for the court to say whether the occupation is legal or illegal.
Butt plug with a macabre on the end of it. Dude.
Why should the court ruling that the occupation is illegal be any cumbersome?
That's a tank, in case anyone doesn't know.
On the American-Israeli negotiations. Why? I mean, because otherwise it should be legal. It's illegal. I mean, and the question here is that it's not a question of few years, few months, few weeks. It's been going on for 56 years. And here comes a bit of the dishonesty.
Why are we changing this from like 56 years from 75 years? Why does that keep happening, chap?
Yes, the American position has been under Trump, later on Biden, at least, right, the past 8 years, whereby America, for example, accepted Israel's annexation of the Golan Heights, a Syrian-occupied territory. So it's not true that America does not accept the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory by force, because it recognized Israel's annexation.
We were talking about that last night, chap.
Recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, which later on President Trump said, I relieved you, Israel, from this
compromise for the 67 borders, yeah.
Now we, America, recognized your annexation of Jerusalem, de facto. So in fact, the United States did take a good number of steps that are in utter violations of international law. And then there's this whole ambiguity about the settlements. Of course, the United States, historically speaking, has taken the position that transferring one's population to an occupied territory, as Israel has done over the years, is illegal. But then it started to become more and more and more ambiguous, so much so that in latter years, it basically accepted them as de facto. It accepted the settlements block as de facto and asked the Palestinians, demanded that the Palestinians swap territory because they must leave those settlements in place. And for me, aside from all the legal issues that I am not exactly versed in, because I'm just basically commenting on the politics of the American presentation, is probably the most important underlying issue in this whole thing, right? And why Israel justifies its occupation, why America accepts Israel's justification for its occupation. And what we've heard here said, I think probably a dozen times, Israel's security.
Right to defend itself.
You put it twice on the questions, right, or something. What is Israel's security? Who defines Israel's security? Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel says Israel's security can only be guaranteed if it takes charge on all the territory from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. Which means any future Palestinian state that Mr. whoever his name is talks about
he doesn't even know who the guy's name was.
Is going to be under
fuck him.
Control.
Fuck him.
Hence, the American representative doesn't even mention the end of occupation, that the erection, the establishment.
Streams typically start around 10 till 12 PST. When you say last night, I think for a moment I missed the stream.
Defining the borders on the 1967, because anything less than that would be accepting the acquisition of territory by force, right? So, once again, quite sophisticated, quite clever, quite sober, right? But quite absurd and dishonest, to be honest. In fact, in terms of what is required of this court, this is the world's court. The world's court cannot be at the disposition and at the service of American Pax Americana, of American-Israeli negotiation tactics.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what happens, because of the 51 countries presenting arguments, only America and Fiji will be arguing against the illegal occupation. So let's argue against the idea of an illegal occupation. So let's see what happens there. Marwan, for the moment, thank you very much.
So that was a bit of a crap video. I genuinely thought that there was going to be some actual footage from the hearing, and there wasn't. So let's head over to the UN YouTube channel. Because I can't believe for a single second that this particular video from the Times, which is 6 hours long, I just can't believe it. I simply can't believe it that it's 6 hours long. Videos. Surely we just got videos, uploads, whatever. Latest. 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago. They got all these, like, live. They got these lives. Here we go. United Nations Live. saw a post from a Fijian citizen disclaiming their government's bullshit. Wonder what Fiji has to say about it. Fiji is doing what? Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. What, why is this just, like, unavailable, man? Extremely annoying. U.S. public hearing ICJ. Surely that should be it. Live ICJ hearing on Israel streamed 5 hours ago. 6 hours long? It can't be right. This can't be right, man. 6 hours long? So these are all representatives from the United States. Okay, alright. Let's hear what these losers have got to say.
Nature, the concern of all states. And I quote, in view of the importance of the...
I'm so sorry, there's no subtitles for this. I'm going to have to try and get the Chrome subtitles working. I can't remember how to do that. So just bear with me a sec. I'm just going to try this out.
All states can be held to have a legal...
Hey, Adam Warlock, long time no see. What's up? Yeah, I'll get the Sham.
Given the character and the importance of the rights and obligations involved, it follows that all states are under an obligation.
Hey, Glucose Poo.
Not to recognize.
What's the U.S. budget this year's gerrymandering? What?
The illegal situation resulting from the...
I don't know. Why are you asking me that?
The occupation of the Palestinian territory. They are also under an obligation not to render aid or assistance in maintaining the situation created by such occupation. As the court has asserted, and I quote, it is also for all states, while respecting the UN Charter and international law, to see to it that any impediment to the exercise by the Palestinian people of its right to self-determination is brought to an end.
What are you on about, All Lives Matter crowd?
Quote.
Chat, start making sense.
Finally, Colombia believes that states must cooperate within the multilateral framework of the United Nations. In the present situation, the organization...
Did she just say Colombia?
Colombia believes that states must cooperate within the
So this isn't the US, this is Colombia. That will never make sense. You know, that's why I love chat. Not gonna lie, that's why I love chat. So, wait a minute, what the fuck? I thought for a minute that's where the speaker was going. I don't know either. Where are the Yanks? Where are the Yanks? That guy looks like an unequivocal wasp. Traditional wasp.
I now call upon the delegation of the United Arab Emirates to address the court and invite...
That's the UAE, dude. That's the fucking UAE. I'm not listening to that. What's it scrolling through there? So much. Right, this has got to be the USA. That's an old-ass white dude I just saw. This has got to be it. Hey, Murphy, what's up? Can I get a shout-out for Murphy, please? Big up, Murph. How you doing? Ooh, what's Nightingale, Murph? Brain kind of lately, but we're hanging in there. Yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Old ass white men got to be the US. That's what I was thinking. PvP, yeah.
The sitting is open.
Steampunky new survival game. Let's go. Sounds good.
The court meets this afternoon to hear the Russian Federation, France, the Gambia, Guyana, and Hungary on the questions submitted to it by the United Nations General Assembly.
Wait, what? None of those are the US, dude. That's Russia, Gambia, some other places. So are these... Oh, dude, this is fucking shit. Which one is fucking the USA? Was the USA not today? Have I done this shit again? Have I got it wrong again? I've just been so busy. Old ass white man probably for Russia. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true. The USA doesn't have the monopoly on old crusty white dudes. That's very true. Very, very true. So that's why I'm having trouble finding this, because it didn't happen. The US was today. Losing my marbles, man. I'm losing my fucking marbles.
Territory.
This is Colombia.
Is a consequence of Israel's occupation.
And then we got this person.
Camello to take the floor.
Who?
Participating delegation, Cuba, to address
Cuba. All right. You know what? Let's hear what Cuba's got to say. Let's hear what Cuba's got to say.
the court. I call upon Her Excellency Ana Yancy Rodriguez Camello to take the floor.
Yeah, oh, I see. So there was Colombia, Comoros, Cuba, Egypt, UAE. Oh, so the US is supposedly after the United Arab Emirates.
Good morning, Mr.
Okay.
President, distinguished
Cool.
members of the court.
Cool. All right, let's check that out then. I do want to hear what Cuba's got to say, though.
For me to address you on behalf of the Republic of Cuba. On July 2023, the Republic of Cuba presented its written submissions as part of the advisory opinion on the legal implications resulting from Israel's practices and policies in the occupied Palestinian territories. Our delegation
DTK.
appears before
You're a star.
this solemn sitting as an expression of Cuba's genuine interest in and commitment to peace, and based on its historical and unconditional solidarity with the peoples that are subject to colonialism and foreign domination.
Let's fucking go.
The Palestinian people, its girls, boys, women, and civilian population as a whole,
There we go, chat. Sorted it out.
continue to be massacred due to the illegal use of force by Israel, the occupying power. All this takes place with the complicity of countries such as the United States of America, responsible under international law for genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the apartheid regime that determines where people can live,
Not appetite, apartheid.
work, and move around depending on their ethnic and religious backgrounds.
It understood the Spanish accent of religious, like religios, but like it just couldn't get fucking, you know, it just could not get apartheid. It was like appetite.
Members of the court, we and you bear the high moral, historical, and legal responsibility to pronounce ourselves in a clear, transparent, and forceful manner on the ignominious situation of the Palestinian people, and to demand international responsibility for what is happening in the occupied territories.
True.
The current
True and
context
based.
highlights the importance of the question circulated by the UN General Assembly resolution.
Can't see it. Can't see what. What can't you see?
247. The presentation of the Cuban delegation has been structured as follows. In the first part, we will discuss the essential legal elements that should serve as the basis for establishing the international responsibility of the occupying power and all other international actors involved. In the second part, we will focus on the legal implications and consequences that should be demanded for such internationally wrongful acts or omissions.
Hell yeah.
Finally, on behalf of the Republic of Cuba, I will present our conclusion on these proceedings. Referring to the first part, the violation of the ban on the threat or use of force, equal rights, and free determination of peoples have been amply documented before the international community and this very court.
Very true.
Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories is an international wrongful act, the reiteration and duration of which aggravate the responsibility of the occupying power before the Palestinian people and the international community. The prohibition to acquire territories by threat or the use of force is a rule of customary international law with broad regulatory and jurisdictional recognition. This prohibition applies regardless of whether the territory is acquired as a result of an act of aggression.
Thanks, B-Rat. I'm going to check out what Cuba's got to say, though.
The UN Charter, which is the basic international legal instrument for the new international order.
You can't see the CC. It's small. Not a lot I can do about that, I'm afraid. It's like... In fact, is there? No, I think I can sort that out.
And the contemporary international law is very clear in this regard.
Thank you, Cuba. We love you, Cuba.
Of which the Statute of the International Court of Justice is an integral part, establishes in Article 2.4 that every state shall refrain from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any states, or in any other manner inconsistent with the purpose of the United Nations. The Charter itself, in Article 1.2, recognizes as one of its purposes respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of peoples, which are systematically and flagrantly denied to the Palestinian people. These violations of general customary international law stand erga omnes. In relation to the specific question before the International Court of Justice, it should be pointed out that since the adoption of Resolution 242, 1967 of the Security Council, it was agreed that Israel's armed force would withdraw from all the territories occupied during the
I'm trying to make the text on the captions bigger for you, Mr. Piece of Work. Hold up.
The 1949 Green Line would be recognized as the demarcation of the borders between Israel and Palestine.
There we go.
The occupation of the Palestinian territories is also considered as a wrongful act of annexation in accordance...
No, I'm afraid I got it on the maximum size. I'm so sorry about that, Mr. Piece of Work. My apologies. Biggest apologies.
...with the provisions contained in Resolution 476 and 478 of 1980 and 497 of 1981 of the Security Council, which state that the acts of Israel oriented to the annexation of East Jerusalem and the Golan Heights are null and void.
Golan Heights. The Golan Heights.
By states. These spurious attempts have also included maneuvers to change the international status of the Holy See of Jerusalem. Some states...
The Holy See? We're doing Berserk references.
...and accord legal status to Israel's policies and practices, but act...
Whoever Golang is, they hate, yeah. That's right.
...to prevent the international community...
That's a good point, Steph.
...including the United Nations from stopping the ongoing genocide.
Well, it's not that it's too difficult. It's that, you know, I got that you know,
under the declaration
the biggest it can be.
Independence to colonial countries and peoples adopted by UN General Assembly Resolution 1514, the Palestinian people have the inalienable right to determine their own political, economic, and social destiny. This is in keeping with the recognition of equal rights and self-determination of peoples, peremptory norms endorsed in the UN Charter, the Human Rights Covenants, and the Declaration on Principles of International Law concerning friendly relations and cooperation among states in conformity with the Charter agreed upon by UNGA Resolution 2625. The presence of Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, the forced changes to the demography of the Palestinian people through land occupation and forced displacement of people, the construction of the separation wall, the control exercised over their natural resources, and the restrictions imposed on their mobility undermine and deny the ability of Palestinians to exercise their right to self-determination. Israel is also in violation of Resolution 242.
Shit! I was literally just supposed to. Fucking hell! I was literally just supposed to. Don't retweet that link. Shit! TTK already did it. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It still helps. It's gonna take you to the same link. I was supposed to change that. I was literally. That was what I was about to do before Mr. Piece of Work was like, can't see. So yeah, just give me a hot minute. Go live tweet. You undid it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. It's this one. Right? It's this one. Chat, don't forget, you want to see a cat? You want to see my really cute cat? Yeah? This is what he looks like. Look at him there. He's doing a fucking little otter pose because he's feeling very safe and comfy. Look at him there. Wait, hold up again. Show pussy. Pussy in bio. There he is. Look at that. Now, you too could be seeing that. He's wiggling around. You too could be seeing that if we get more donos in the chat, right? I like to say no cat cam until we've had £50 worth of donos in the chat. But, you know, I'm feeling nice today. So let's say 25 quid. Yeah, we already had £5 from Steph, so she's got us kicked off. Right? Look at that, TTK. Getting the sub off Twitch command straight away in the chat upon learning that. So, you know, consider that we would only need another 4 people to donate £5. And then you got cat cam on for the rest of the stream. All fucking night, baby. Think about that.
1967 of the Security Council.
It's true, you're a good mod, and also many kittens. That's correct.
These agreements state that no party shall commence or take any step that would modify the
Cat Cam Dono countdown.
And the Gaza Strip.
That's why they call her Cat Girl Steph.
To the outcome of negotiations on the permanent status. The destruction and appropriation of property in occupied territories, which are not justified by military necessity and are carried out on a large scale, unlawfully and arbitrarily, constitute
unlawfully and arbitrarily, true.
The 4th Geneva Convention relative to the protection of civilian persons in time of war, and therefore constitute a war crime. The Palestinian question demands a clear statement on the legal implications resulting from the non-applicability and violations of the 4th Geneva Convention. Land, sea, and air blockades constitute collective punishment and are extreme violations of freedom of movement and the enjoyment of economic, social, and cultural rights. Collective punishment is expressly prohibited by international humanitarian law and is incompatible with several international human rights law provisions. The written submission presented by Cuba to this court provides well-documented evidence, particularly the serious violations of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. The genocide against the Palestinian people is not
I think I've just won captions, chat. I think I just fucking won them. Yeah, new window for the entire of the captions. So good.
Stage of the extermination war by Israel.
I do hold my own cat to ransom. Yeah.
Is the complicity of the United
Yo,
States
Shakespeare, what's going on? Good to see you. Reading over the documents of the court earlier, so glad to see you covering it. I'm just going to be checking out what Cuba's got to say. And then we're going to look at what the fucking US got to say. So that's what we're doing tonight. But it's good to see you, Shakespeare. Long time no see. Good to see you. Hope you're good.
The justification for fighting terrorism and exercising the right to self-defense are deceitful.
Blue fella from Husker. Damn right I'm going to have a blue fella.
The legal consequence of current and past events should not be analyzed in
Get your blue fella out.
manner. Taken as a whole, this institutionalized violence, which makes no distinction between civilians and combatants, is part of a broader policy.
You got the same one, innit, Husker? That's right.
In a systematic
Get your blue fellas out, chat. It's time.
Massive confiscation
Let's
of
go.
land and property, unlawful killings, extrajudicial executions, torture, administrative detentions, forced transfers, restriction on movement.
What'll go great with that? Oh, a little hydrate.
And
Thank you, Sploot Newt.
To the Palestinian population. There is also a
That thing, that's right, Murph.
economic and cultural policy aimed at impoverishing the Palestinian population and denying the realization of their fundamental human rights.
She is spitting.
The International Court of Justice should make a general assessment
Free
of this
Palestine.
situation so as to determine the legal implications resulting from it. In this regard, the Republic of Cuba believes that rather than an obvious apartheid regime situation prosecuted as a crime against humanity, this is indeed an act of low-intensity genocide that is perpetrated with systematic and effective cruelty. To qualify Israel's action merely as acts of apartheid would have...
Not sure how I feel about the term low-intensity genocide. It's been pretty high intensity, from my opinion.
Palestinian people, either in part or as an ethnic and religious group, the right to self-determination is denied. In case there was any doubt about the arguments that Cuba presented to the court in its brief, the current situation that is taking place in the eyes of all confirms the ongoing genocide. Innocent victims, girls, boys, women, civilians in general, numbers in the thousands. For the Genocide Convention to apply, the life of one single victim or the incitement, attempt, or conspiracy to commit such acts would be enough. The Convention Against Genocide also punishes the accomplices and instigators, those who veto decisions and prevent the international community and the United Nations from taking action, those who oppose an immediate ceasefire and the delivery of humanitarian aid, those who, for years, have supported each and every one of the policies.
Yeah, looking at you, USA.
Israel, the occupying power, which deny the existence of the Palestinian
Oh, it was
people
specifically about the occupation and not the current invasion. That's why they used low-level genocide. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
This agenda, to a large extent, has advanced in the course of time. We are convinced that this court should not wait for the complete extermination of an entire nation before ruling on the matter.
Yeah, fucking thank you. That's what's going on, right?
General Assembly in requesting the advisory opinion. The terrible situation currently facing the Palestinian people is a reminder of the urgency of a clear and consistent statement on the questions submitted to the consideration of the court. Israel.
So she makes a great point then in the court should not be waiting until the decimation of an entire country and its people before ruling on the fucking genocide. Because that's what's happening now, right? That's what's happening fucking now. With the amount of time that this has fucking taken, considering this particular hearing is, as TTK says, from December 2022. December 2022, a whole fucking year ago.
Power and its allies must take responsibility for the legal implications resulting from the sustained non-compliance with the international law. Consequently, the analysis of the international responsibility of Israel should go hand in hand with the responsibility of the United Nations and the member states that hinder its actions, creating by sustained and continued omission an international wrongful act that aggravates and worsens a clear situation of violation of international law in the Palestinian occupied territories. There should be a clear and unanimous
Could have been stopped in a day, yep.
That impartially and independently establishes the legal implications resulting from depriving
Thanks
the
for that,
Palestinian
Husker.
peoples from their fundamental rights, including the right to life, freedom, and self-determination. Mr. President,
She and the Cuba team clearly know their shit. Well, they're, a country that came from colonization and genocide.
to the aforementioned
You know?
international violations, there is the indolent attitudes of Israel, the occupying power, of ignoring the numerous resolutions and decisions adopted by the UN General Assembly, the Security Council, and the International Court of Justice. In this regard, and without intending to cover all issues, our brief to the court contains a report on the violations of the aforementioned provisions. In line with the foregoing and all other relevant opinions that may be contributed by other states, the main legal implication from this violation, resulting from this violation of international law, should be the declaration of the international legal responsibility of Israel, the occupying power, and its accomplices. All this
Absolutely.
based on the series of conventional and customary primary rules of international law that have been violated by Israel. Likewise, the aforesaid responsibilities and legal consequences must be established for Israel and its accomplices.
Like Cuba's probably one of the countries that's going to go the most hardest against Israel, right? Probably going to go the hardest against Israel, but there's going to be statements supporting Palestine from all over the world, like the amount of countries. Where's that link that TTK just sent me? Excuse me. There we go. Like this is the graphic, right? That's been circulated. You got Palestine on Monday, South Africa yesterday. We know what they think. Belgium, we know what they think. Algeria, we know what they think. Saudi Arabia, we kind of know what they think. Netherlands, the same. Bangladesh, we know what they think. Chile, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada. Well, Canada, I don't know what Canada said. We know what they think. Colombia, Comoros, Cuba, Egypt, UAE, Russia, kinda. Not sure about France. France voted for a ceasefire in the UN on Monday. Or was it Sunday? I can't remember. Gambia, I think they support Palestine. Guyana, not sure. Hungary, not sure. China, they support Palestine. Iran, they support them. Iraq, they support them. Ireland, they support them. Japan, kinda. Malaysia, definitely. Jordan, definitely. Kuwait, definitely. Lebanon, definitely. Libya, you know. These are all, you know, Namibia, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Indonesia, Sudan, Slovenia, Qatar, Syria, Tunisia. They're all going to be saying negative things about Israel, you know? Turkey, Spain, Zambia, Fiji, League of Arab States, Maldives, League of Arab States, Organization of Islamic Cooperation and African Union, you know, Turkey as well, probably Zambia. We know that they're going to be supporting Palestine. Not sure about Spain. Spain have had a lot of pressure from left-wing parties. Does Vietnam get a say? I don't know if Vietnam takes part in the United Nations, considering it got, like, fucked over. I think it got fucked over by them. I'm not entirely sure. But maybe they declined to comment. I don't know. Not entirely sure. Yeah, exactly. Hungary's government is fascist. Hungary was a bastard. They said the proceedings at the ICJ might be viewed as a provocation. Like, shut up, man. Hey, Nom Danette, how's it going? Good to see you. Long time no see. Canada pulled out. That's crazy. That's crazy. I cannot help but dread that Zionists will be mocking her for a Cuban accent, occasionally stumbling over her words. Of course, they'll ignore the Hebrew accent of Israeli spokespersons. Implications that Israel is white and European and so okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's bullshit. Well, you know, the reason that I'm saying this, I'm like wondering, like, you know, because when they were talking about South Africa's case at the ICJ, they were saying South Africa is the legal arm of Hamas. Well, what are they going to say now? Half the world is Hamas? Is Hamas in the room with us right now? You know, this shit again, like that's kind of what I'm saying here, you know? Canada's a coward. I'm allowed to say that. I'm Canadian on my dad's side. You're allowed to say that anyway. I don't care if you're not Canadian. I'm not Canadian. Canada fucking sucks. All Canadians will agree with me though. You laugh, but yeah, no, but I will laugh. I'll laugh even more. I will laugh even more because it's a joke. It's a complete joke. And I really want to, like, you know, I really want to see it happen because they will delegitimize themselves further by doing this, by saying like everything is Hamas. You know, one of the things, the silver lining that I've taken from this horrific situation, and you have to, even with situations like this, take a silver lining from it, chat, because otherwise you'll go insane, right? I'm sorry, but you will, and I'm sure you all agree. The silver lining that I have taken from this is that Israel have gone full fucking brain moron mode with their propaganda. And that is the result of the absurd radicalization that they engage in with people who live in Israel, like everyday Israelis, and also the propaganda it exports all around the world with help from, you know, the funding they get from America and the EU and the US and the UK, or all these different countries that give them money. And it's just funny to see that. It's just funny to see them saying things like South Africa is Hamas, you know, and they're going to say something like Colombia, Hamas, France, Hamas, Egypt, Hamas, China, you better believe it, they're Hamas. You know, this is it, right? You're right, B-Rat. You know, they will absolutely say that. They will. I'm kind of reminded of the international community meme where it's just the West. That really is what support for Israel is. That's right, Joe from Durant, and welcome to the stream again. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? Canada is America's hat, yeah. That is one of my favorite things to say about Canada, that they're America's hat. You know, that's kind of insulting America and Canada at the same time, innit? Which is pretty good. Anyway, let's crack on with this. Let's crack on. Because, you know, we can speculate all we want, but we kind of have to hear what they got to say.
In accordance with the secondary rules of state responsibility for internationally wrongful acts contained in the draft articles of the International Law Commission as reflected in document A5610. It would be appropriate for the Court to provide in its advisory opinion that the international responsibility of Israel covers all illicit acts or omission of its state bodies, and those executed by persons or entities exercising powers of public authority, acting in the absence of official authorities or under the guidance or control of the occupying power.
Yep.
These secondary rules that govern the international responsibility of states clearly establishes the guidelines to determine the legal implication of the internationally wrongful act. This would motivate a strong ruling of...
Yeah, I think that's an astute observation, Ludo. What Ludo is saying in the chat is they're basically attributing everything to Hamas the same way other fascists attribute everything to Jewish cabals or communists, right? You know, and listen, let me tell you something. Israel is not a fan of communists. No matter how much they, cooperated with the USSR back in the day. I think they gave the USSR, like, a bunch of money to resettle Jews from Soviet Union in Israel. But they are not fans of communists. Anything remotely left-wing, you better believe it. You know, even though they have like socialized healthcare and shit, they got free healthcare in Israel. By the way, I don't know if anyone knew that. Free healthcare, arguably probably better than the NHS. Funded with American tax dollars as well. American tax dollars, UK tax pounds, European tax euros.
By the court, indicating the immediate obligation of all states.
Why have the captions stopped showing up? What's going on with that?
In particularly,
learned that from the Chenkad yesterday. Yeah.
To comply with the conventional and customary norms flagrantly and systematically violated in the Palestinian territory, including the cessation and non-repetition and reparation for the damage caused to the Palestinian people referred to respectively in Articles 29, 30 and 31.
Free healthcare missed a piece of work.
Articles on responsibility of states.
The ad was good for one thing.
All of the foregoing is without prejudice to the applicable provisions of treaty law. In addition,
yeah, that's right, Nomdanet. Yep.
The National Court of Justice should
foes are both big and small, everywhere and nowhere. Yeah.
Responsibility of other states for the aid.
Yeah, that's right,
and
TTK.
They offer
Bullshit.
to Israel, including those that supply weapons.
Yeah.
And
she's right, and she should say it.
That certain members of the organization violate the principles reflected in Article 2 of the Charter, not only by denying the sovereign equality and rights of the State of Palestine, but also by acting in bad faith in such a way that precludes any possibility for a negotiated solution to the conflict that, far from being resolved, has worsened over the last 70 years. In all these years, the United States has systematically and consistently overused its veto power to prevent any effective action by the Security Council and to ensure impunity to Israel. Just yesterday, the U.S. vetoed for the 48th time a Security Council resolution related to the Palestinian question. The International Court of Justice should emphasize the scope of Article 2.5 of the UN Charter, which states that all members shall refrain from giving assistance to any state against which the United Nations is taking preventive or enforcement action. This entails the obligation of all states to abide by the decisions adopted by the organization as a whole, particularly when the Security Council remains passive by the indolent attitude of one of its permanent members, the United States of America. And the United Nations General Assembly has continuously...
Fuck yeah. Got some America hate going on. Let's go. Let's go. The indolent... What did it? What did she say? The indolent attitude?
The United States of America. Particularly when the Security Council remains passive by the indolent attitude of one of its permanent members, the United States.
Oh, let's fucking go, man. Yeah, call out that fucking hegemony.
Has
so based.
Continuously and categorically taken a stand on this question, supported by the International Court of Justice. Mr. President, members of the courts, to conclude, and based on the foregoing and especially taking into account the unbearable situation of the Palestinian people, the Honorable International Court of Justice should take a stand in the clearest...
Accurate description does not equal hate. I don't fucking care. You've been in this long enough. You've been in this community long enough to know that I've got no time for pedantic fucking, you know, definitions of phrases and words.
For legal terms,
I don't give a fuck.
In support of
it's funny and it's true and it's good to hate the USA, even if you're doing it with accurate descriptions.
The advisory opinion should
I know you dig it.
Legal implications for Israel, other states, and the United Nations for the violation of the norms.
I went to Cuba once when I was a teenager, and one of the first things the tour guide said to everyone was paraphrased, "Americans are bastards." Yeah, it's true. It's wholeheartedly true.
The threat or use of force, equal rights and self-determination of people, as well as of the main international human rights instruments, the Geneva Convention
That's right, Mr. Piece of Work.
of Civilian Persons in Time of War, the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, and the continued non-compliance with decision of the UN General Assembly, Security Council, and the International Court of Justice. A special pronouncement would be merited by the issues related to the character and status of the Holy See of Jerusalem, Holy City of Jerusalem, in light of the continuous violation by Israel and the regrettable inaction of the United Nations, a direct result of the abusive and irresponsible exercise of the veto privilege in the Security Council.
Let's go!
Should carefully think about the legal implications of these actions or omissions. We understand that once the court has declared the existence of a situation of violation of international
That's right, Ludo.
law,
Kind to people, ruthless to institutions.
of a crime of genocide, war crime, or crime against humanity, there should be clear legal implications for all states that act in a way that ignores or undermines the decision or opinion of the court.
Hell yeah.
Actions or omissions that support violations of general international law should be held to
Actions
be
or
incompatible
omissions.
with the exercise of any international privilege. Honorable magistrates, it is up to the International Court of Justice to render the peace and justice that the Palestinian people deserve, without political double standards. That is the reason why the delegation of the Republic of Cuba respectfully requests the prompt issuance of an advisory opinion against the many years of genocidal impunity, clearly stating the international implications and responsibilities of those who, on one way or the other, contribute to the extermination of the Palestinian people.
Hell yeah!
The international community requires a pronouncement that makes it clear to those responsible that today they may use their force against the innocent civilians. But this force will not be enough to spare them from justice.
Yeah!
Thank you very much.
Let's go!
I thank the delegation of Cuba for its presentation. I invite the next participating delegate
Fucking based.
from Egypt to address the court and for Ms. Jasmine Musa to the podium.
No, it wasn't in the courtroom. It was my sound effects. Right, listen. You can listen to a little bit of this if you like. You know, I'm not too interested. I'm going to skip past this in a bit, but I'm going to go to the toilet real quick. I'll be back. Make sure you help yourself. Take your meds if you haven't already. Stretch your legs, hydrate, get a snack, etc. See you in a bit. Yeah, a little bit of a bruh in the courtroom.
Which the General Assembly is once again seeking the court's guidance in respect of the
Anyway, I'm going.
of Palestine.
Hi, Small.
This comes against the backdrop of a 75-year history of displacement, dispossession, collective punishment, and daily, indiscriminate, and systematic violence and human suffering of untold proportions. Mr. President, as we speak, Israel's brutal onslaught continues to rage in occupied Gaza, where 29,000 innocent civilians have been killed and almost 2.3 million people forcibly transferred and displaced in violation of international law. Israel is deliberately and wantonly creating conditions of life that are intended to make life in Gaza impossible, imposing siege and starvation, including by impeding humanitarian access and the distribution of relief through constant obstruction and bombardment. With the impending attack on Rafah, where 1.4 million people have sought refuge, Israel is continuing its policy of mass forcible expulsion of Palestinian civilians.
We found you guilty. We find you guilty.
Repeatedly fails to call for a ceasefire in callous disregard.
Okay. That sounded like that person was saying some pretty base stuff, but we're going to skip ahead to the USA. So I think that's this fella. It's this cheeky monkey. I wonder what his name is. I don't know what his name is, but
Call upon Mr. Richard Bizek to take the floor.
Mr. Richard Bizek. Thank you, B-Rat. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the court. I am honored to appear before you today on behalf of the United States of America. The court has a serious and difficult task before it. In the time since the General Assembly first requested this advisory opinion, the international community has confronted the horror of the terrorist attacks of October 7.
Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck!
And the ongoing
Shut up!
conflict between Israel and Hamas, which has had severe, widespread, and tragic consequences for Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Violence, including extremist settler violence, also surged in the West Bank. The United States, along with others, is engaging in...
You know, like, within a minute, 20 fucking seconds. And we got, October 7th, so bad. And then, like, yeah, and there was some stuff in the West Bank. Do you know what I mean? October the 7th, huge war with Hamas. Oh, my God. And that's the reason that all these civilians have died. Do you know what I mean? It's because of Hamas. You know, they wouldn't have died if it wasn't for Hamas. Also, there's some stuff going on in the West Bank. Anyway, moving on.
Intensively with the Palestinians, with Israel, and with other states.
I think that this guy should...
United Nations, not only to address the current crisis...
Really slowly, with a...
beyond where we have been. Namely, to advance...
Lower himself very slowly into a...
...to a durable peace in the region that includes lasting security for Israelis and Palestinians.
What? I was just saying he should lower himself slowly into a bath. What do you mean?
The Security Council and the General Assembly remain convinced that the Israelis and Palestinians must take the steps necessary to resolve their conflict and create such an enduring peace.
I hate this shit, dude. I hate... Resolve their conflict. The Palestinians need to do their part and resolve the conflict.
The United Nations have laid out and continue
Hey, Val, what's up?
The path to achieve that peace through the principles first articulated in Security Council resolutions.
What's the bath full of? Who knows exactly?
Those resolutions
A bath full of
established framework
cocks.
within which the court should address the legal questions before.
Should never have been given the ability to do this.
This court's advisory opinion will have consequences for the parties to the conflict.
She had a really knobbly bag.
Ongoing efforts of all of
Got really distracted by her bag.
durable peace.
Exactly. How are they supposed to negotiate when they're being fucking killed?
Bears primary responsibility for maintenance of international peace and security. It will do so for the General Assembly, which requested the court's advice. And it will do so for the other members of the international.
As this moron drones on, I can't help but think how Benjamin Netanyahu was confirmed as seriously considering making preparations for Alan Dershowitz to be one of his defense attorneys. I think the only reason that that's not happened is because they found out he was on the Epstein flight logs. And what that meant instead is that, you know, there's a place for him in Israel, isn't there, as a settler? There's a place for Alan Dershowitz and his kind in Israel, aren't there? Isn't there? You know, because his kind are quite prominent in Israel, aren't they? You know, lovers of children. You know, it's not like there's an issue with that in Israel at all, is there? This guy would probably say that George Floyd might have lived if he worked with Derek Chauvin at all to peacefully resolve their differences. Yeah, it's fucking dog shit. Absolutely dog shit. The USA should be banned from speaking at the ICJ until they remove the Hague Invasion Act. I agree wholeheartedly. Like, this fucking loser is just here being like, oh, well, you know, Hamas, blah, blah. Just saying whatever he wants because he knows that if anything happens to the US, they'll just send the troops to the Hague. Like, completely fucking batshit. What a absolutely horrific country.
National community. Throughout the tumultuous...
Can you Google Richard Visek real quick? This better be good. This better be worth it, yo. Okay, yeah, you were right. You were right. You were right. You were right. It was worth it. Why does he look like that? That's some real fucking man made of pudding vibes in it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just made of pudding in it, and like a certain vibration causes him to form in that way. You know what I mean? When they made Shrek human. Looking like a cartoon ass. Yeah, who does he look like? He's really hitting me with like the vibe of like a, you know, like a cartoon from the guy who made Courage the Cowardly Dog or something like that. It's just the way that his smile is. What's that one creepy, like super creepy one? Creepiest episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's like that guy that likes to shave him, innit? Ren and Stimpy ass face. Oh my god, Birdie, you're right. Oh, he looks like fucking Ren. From Ren and Stimpy. No, he looks like Stimpy. Yeah, pretty much. Close enough. Hold up, let me get this right. This has to be right. Pretty much. Whoops. Wrong tab. Pretty much, man. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Yeah, the eyes. Something about the eyes. I have other stuff to draw. Don't tempt me. Hey, Crystal, what's going on? You know, that's the first thing that I saw. That's the first thing that I thought. The cockroach alien in the man suit, who is Vincent D'Onofrio. Vincent D'Onofrio in Men in Black. Yeah, very similar vibes. Edgar from Men in Black. And there's like a weird shot where he smiles and his like face goes massive. There it is. That's what I saw. There you go. That's the same guy. That's the same guy. Hey Baz, what's up? Posing next to the American flag really completes the picture too. Well, you know, he's a government official, so yeah, he has to do that anyway. But yeah, anyway, all right, enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get serious. Stuff of my childhood nightmares. Yeah, same.
An often violent history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Oh man, we should have like a checkbox, like ding every time. I'm sure I could do this live, actually. You know what? I'm going to try and do this live. Real quick. I'm absolutely certain I've got this sound effect. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, no. Don't look at my goblin porn, chat. I thought it was a real goblin.
In its support for the
I'm going to make that joke every time I accidentally get my folders up on fucking Twitch, man.
opposition that a
Israel apologia bingo, yeah.
and lasting peace requires negotiations between the parties to the conflict. As the court can see in the submissions before it, there is broad international support.
I was not thinking about that Sean clip.
Solution to the conflict.
It's the way he says, "Oh, I can explain. I thought they were human children." It just went so fucking hard, man. I love Sean so much.
A solution in which two peoples live side by side.
Like, how many? This is the funny thing. Okay, sorry to derail a little bit, but like, you know, this is the thing about that entire fucking like fiasco. Yeah, is it like what streamer? Like every single streamer is going to have made that joke now, because that happens to every streamer. This is what's so unbelievable about all of it. Yeah, that's what's so unbelievable about all of it. It's just like, how do you not know that there's going to be, you know, even if it was just like regular porn, like not CP, you're on your streaming PC, bro. You know what I mean? You're on your streaming PC. Why are you downloading that shit on your streaming PC? You know, I'm pretty sure I've got a pretty funny image of like, I don't know. Someone sent it to me because we were joking about it in a stream ages ago. And it's like Phoenix Wright porn where like, what's the guy he doesn't like? Well, there's Phoenix Wright and then there's the other attorney, right? And it's like them two having sex. And I'm pretty sure I've got like a funny image of that somewhere on my PC. Like that's the amount of it. Yeah. But that's never going to call. That's in like, that's Edgeworth. That's it. Edgeworth. Yeah. I think that's literally what it is. Like Edgeworth is like, you know, Edgeworth doing some edging. He's a distraction op. He's not. It's not that deep. He's just a confidently wrong idiot. That's all it is. He's just a confidently wrong. He's like the epitome of like cis white man privilege and, you know, ability to just make content. That's all it is. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Literally just have a fucking second login. Yeah. Didn't Alex Jones do something similar? It's like they want to be caught. That's what I'm saying, man. It's so dumb. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Let's continue. Let's continue with the serious stuff of the stream.
Of freedom, security, opportunity, and dignity, and which results in
reminds me of fucking pronouns. Yeah,
integration and stability.
Motherfuckers were really like, why is everyone joking about this? Right, exactly. Funny as fuck. That's why.
It is for these reasons that the United States encourages the court to ensure that its opinion preserves and promotes the established framework and the prerogatives of the principal political organs of the United Nations to identify the appropriate measures to address this particular matter of international peace.
There you go. Alex Jones had trans pornography.
It will not be possible in this statement to address every assertion or underlying assumption, including those with which the United States disagrees. Instead, my statement today will proceed in two parts. First, I will discuss the established framework set forth and endorsed by the Security Council and the General Assembly, as well as the widespread recognition that the parties must return to that framework as the pathway to durable peace. I will then address guiding considerations for the important role the court should play in preserving and promoting that framework. Mr. President, members of the court, the first time the General Assembly sought this court's advice in relation to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the court recognized that, and I quote, "This tragic situation can be brought to an end only through implementation in good faith of all relevant Security Council resolutions. In particular, resolutions 242, adopted in 1967, and 338, adopted in 1973. This statement remains as true today as it was then, as the Security Council, the General Assembly, and the international community have consistently affirmed, and as many of the submissions in these proceedings recognize. As set out in our written submissions, the established framework for achieving a comprehensive and enduring peace is anchored in Security Council resolutions 242 and 338. At their core,
everything this guy's saying bears the subtext that the United States and Israel will not adhere to any ruling. Yeah. For real, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. That's why he's saying the things that he's saying.
These and subsequent resolutions call for the application of two interdependent and inseparable requirements for a just and lasting peace. One is the withdrawal of forces from occupied territory, and the other is peace and security for states in the Middle East through acknowledgement of the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of every state in the area.
Didn't say the word Palestine there, did he?
Requirements. The Security Council decided.
But hang on a second, Vizek. Didn't the U.S. completely okay the annexation of Golan Heights, which was part of the sovereign state of Syria? Interesting that you talk about the sovereignty of surrounding states and states in the region, and the U.S. simply just said, okay, that's fine, actually.
That the withdrawal of Israeli forces relies on and is bound together with the termination of belligerency, mutual recognition and respect for the right of Israel and every other state in the region to live in peace within secure and recognized boundaries.
That's bullshit. Some more bullshit, chat.
This principle is referred to by both the Security Council.
It's about 3 counts of bullshit already.
Plan for peace. In the years since, these interdependent and inseparable requirements have been the organizing principle of historic peace agreements, first between Israel and Egypt, and then between Israel and Jordan. They were also adopted by Israel and the Palestinians in the Oslo Accords, though the promise of Oslo has yet to be.
Can't even say the word Palestine. You can say Palestinians, but not Palestine.
Upon these requirements,
I think that's a really important thing to kind of like observe in terms of dehumanization, yeah? Because Palestinians is kind of being referred to as like an ethnic group. That's what it's being referred to. An ethnic group that resides within Israel. That's what the USA is basically saying. Yeah? With this shit. Respect for state integrity and peace only apply to Israel, the only state in the area that matters. Right, exactly. That's why it's bullshit. You know? Yeah, and then that's what's going down. You know, he'll say Palestinians because it's like, oh, well, that's like saying Arabs or Africans or, you know, Europeans or something like that. It's like a group of a type of people, you know? But will not say the word Palestine because that's the place that they're from.
Basis for achieving a comprehensive peace in the region and between the parties.
The parties.
Security Council
that's some bullshit.
And the Assembly have reflected this time and again in their respective resolutions. This framework also remains the basis for ongoing U.S. efforts to facilitate a lasting peace. Earlier this month,
yeah, trying to imply they don't have a state.
Lincoln
yeah.
traveled to the region for the 5th time since October 7 and discussed the sets of commitments that all parties...
They keep referencing October 7th as well, like since October 7th.
There will be difficult choices necessary to realize the vision of the long elusive prospect of true peace and true security. He also reinforced that the diplomatic path to a just and lasting peace and to true security for all in the region continues to be a path to an Israel that is fully integrated into the region with normal relations with the countries of the region and with firm
normalization. Fuck that shit. Fuck you, bro.
Underscored that this must include a concrete path to a Palestinian state living side by side in peace and security with Israel. The United States is not alone.
Okay, so on that one, a Palestinian state can't even say Palestine. You know what I mean? Can't even say still can't say Palestine when referring to a Palestinian state. Do you know what I mean? Because what they'll try and define as a Palestinian state, if they try and do some kind of UN partition plan again, right? It will be the West Bank, and that won't be called Palestine. Or it will be Gaza, and that won't be called Palestine. It'll just be like Gaza, right? You know what I mean? Be like two separate places, two separate enclaves kind of thing. You know what I mean? Israeli parliament backs Netanyahu's rejection of a Palestinian state literally today. Yeah, that's right. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
Established framework that the Security Council and the General Assembly have created and continue to endorse. Countries and organizations around the world, some of which are participating in these proceedings, continue to reiterate the imperative of reviving the peace process and urgently achieving a two-state solution. Our written comments collect a number of statements made to that effect.
Thanks for the look, Murph.
Mr. President, members of the court, I turn now to the second part of my statement and the important role the court can play in preserving and promoting this established framework. The court has appropriately recognized that its role in
peace, Murph. See you later. Thanks for hanging out.
Is to assist the requesting UN organ while taking care to avoid a result that could undermine the determinations of the Security Council and its primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security.
So what do you mean by that, Doug?
This feature of the court's advisory function has several important implications for the court's work in this proceeding.
Go ahead, let's hear it.
Discuss three of them. First and fundamentally, the court should not take up the suggestion of some to interpret the questions in this proceeding as encompassing the entire question of Palestine.
Oh, we said it.
Seeks advice only with respect to the legal consequences of the conduct of one of the parties to the underlying conflict. This one-sidedness, which contrasts with the reciprocity inherent in the established framework, necessarily must inform the court's approach to this advisory proceeding.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
Second,
he's basically saying everybody's ganging up on Israel and it's very one-sided and that can't affect how the court rules. That's what it's saying. Yeah, one side, USA and puppets, other side, rest of the world, literally.
Contrary to the assertions of some participants, in calling for the court to take this measured approach to the question referred, the United States is by no means suggesting there is no role for the court, nor is it the position of the United States that the court must refrain from considering violations of international law or the legal consequences thereof. Participants who have said as much have misunderstood us. Our argument is...
No, they've not misunderstood you, because regardless of what you say in the ICJ, you will go ahead and do whatever the fuck you want anyway. It's not that people have misunderstood you. It's that you've sat there and you've demanded that, you know, Israel just gets to do whatever the fuck it wants again and again and again and again, vetoing the fucking Security Council votes all the fucking time. The discussion must be balanced is literally a climate denial argument. Yeah. I was clipped out of context. Well, the V-man, he learns from the best, right?
In respect for the UN Charter and the roles and responsibilities assigned to the UN's principal organs.
Bro, you know, this is why they're talking about, like, oh, you need to have some respect for the UN Charter, because, like, they run the fucking UN. They run the UN. They control everything that happens at the UN. You know what I mean? Joe, absolute
joke. The
joke.
advisory function was designed to assist the UN's principal political organs in the proper performance of their respective functions. In exercising its advisory role, the court must necessarily consider the extent to which the Security Council and General Assembly have taken action to address a matter of international peace and security, particularly where, as here, they have directly and repeatedly endorsed a specific framework for achieving peace. None of the Security Council's resolutions has suggested altering or departing from this framework. In fact, as recently as late December,
I don't know, man. You vetoed quite a lot of those decisions.
The Council, in Resolution 2720, reiterated its, and I quote, unwavering commitment to the vision of the two-state solution, where two democratic states, Israel and Palestine, live side by side in peace within secure and recognized borders, consistent with international law and relevant UN resolutions, end quote.
Right one who reads, it's bullshit.
At around the same time, the General Assembly likewise stressed in Resolution 78/192, quote, the urgency of achieving without delay an end to the Israeli occupation that began in 1967 and a just, lasting, and comprehensive peace settlement between the Palestinian and Israeli sides, based on the relevant resolutions of the United Nations, the Madrid Terms of Reference, including the principles of land for peace, the Arab Peace Initiative, and the Quartet Roadmap to a permanent two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Conflict mentioned.
International law has a central and important role to play here. Within the established framework, the Security Council itself, including in recent resolutions 2172 and 2720, has demanded that all parties comply with their obligations under international law, including international humanitarian law. And within the framework, the Council has also sought to remove obstacles to the achievement of a two-state solution.
In what way?
Establishment of civilian settlements, destruction of infrastructure, demolition of homes.
Yeah.
And the failure to prevent acts of terrorism.
There it is.
Likewise, emphasize that the parties should be held to their commitments. For example, Security Council
acts of terrorism, like by who? Do you know what I mean? Like who's doing the terrorism, dude? By the way, is this quiet for everyone? I'm gonna turn it up a little bit because I think I'm a bit louder than it.
1850 notes the irreversibility of the bilateral negotiations between the parties and urges, and I quote, an intensification of diplomatic efforts.
That's right, B-Rat. None of this fucking matters in the case of genocide. Yeah.
Mutual recognition and peaceful coexistence between all states in the region in the context of achieving a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace in the Middle East.
You said that earlier, dude. Just a repeat of the same thing that you said.
In any consideration by the court of these or other issues, the challenge for the court is how to provide its advice in a way that promotes the framework rather than disrupting its balance.
The way that my man's looking at this fucking representative is actually hilarious. This is actually hilarious. Like real fucking like, you know?
Potentially making the possibility of negotiations even more difficult. In this regard, it would not, as some participants suggest,
giving him the evil eye,
achievement of the established framework to issue an opinion that calls for a unilateral, immediate, and unconditional withdrawal by Israel that does not account for Israel's legitimate security needs.
Oh, what are the fucking security needs? What are the security needs?
Particular violation.
And he has to say legitimate security needs. Bro, if Israel withdrew from the West Bank and from Gaza this second, they would have zero security issues. Let's say the bare minimum of what we're asking for, the IOF withdraws from these places, they stop murdering civilians, yeah? That's the end of it. Nothing would happen to them. Literally nothing would happen to them. Not from Palestine. You know? Completely insane.
Of international law. Such an outcome would be contrary to the established framework, which the Security Council and General Assembly have structured around the two interdependent and inseparable elements. Not only withdrawal,
which are,
but also the conditions necessary for peace and security for all states in the region.
Which are?
An enduring peace requires progress on both of these balanced elements. In addition, as noted in the U.S. written comments, the establishment of this framework by the Security Council and General Assembly is a salient feature of these proceedings.
So he's referring to a framework that was established by the Security Council, but I bet my fucking bottom dollar that this guy is simply misreading what they're saying on purpose. And again, you know, as we've said already, this has nothing to do in the case of genocide. This has nothing to do, any framework that's been established to ensure like lasting peace in any kind of region anywhere in the world is not going to be something that says, well, it's fine for this genocide to keep happening. Do you know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. What that guy was saying at the start was very true. Like, this is a very like measured and careful wording where they've tried to like appeal to the court, like saying like, hey, listen, you know we're the top dogs here, yeah? Well, you need to be reminded actually that, you know, you are arbiters of the law, and the UN Security Council has like put forward these frameworks, and you can't fuck with them, because if you do, oh, that's a big no-no, and we'll be telling you off. We'll be giving you a bad grade this year for school, you know?
From other proceedings.
I mean, fuck, they might even invade The Hague, right?
Mr. President, members of the court, as Secretary General Guterres remarked just a few weeks ago in connection with ending Israel's occupation, quote, a lasting end to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict can only come through a two-state solution. Israelis must see their legitimate needs for security materialized, and Palestinians must see their legitimate aspirations for a fully independent, viable, and sovereign state realized, in line with United Nations resolutions, international law, and previous agreements.
Just like every single person in establishment seems to think that there is no way that there could be a Palestinian state that has Jewish people in it. That's how far down the road we've come of lying about Palestinians and like saying that they're just like wholly anti-Semitic, like they hate Jews. There's no way that Jews can live in Palestinian society, when it is the opposite. It is the actual opposite. That is the framing of what every single person, so, you know, the security general secretary, whatever, Guterres, I don't know what his fucking title is, I don't care, you know, saying like, oh, well, you know, there needs to be like two states, yeah? Well, like, you know, that's what we have now. Like, it's no different, you know what I mean? There is a fucking Palestinian state. It's just being occupied. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so completely unserious. You know, it's a joke. It's a joke, actually. Just how unserious it is.
Under the established framework, any movement towards Israel's withdrawal from the West Bank and Gaza requires consideration of Israel's very real security needs.
Every single time mentioning it. Israel's very real security needs. What are they? What are Israel's very real security needs? You know, it's just such a fucking I'm sick of this, man. Sick of it.
We were all reminded of those security needs on October 7.
The October 7th October 7th mentioned.
Those needs have been ignored by many of the participants in asserting how the court should consider the questions before it. In sum, it is important that the court keep in mind the balance that the Security Council and General Assembly have determined is necessary to provide the best chance for durable peace. Mr. President, members of the court, I turn now to my third point. In carefully considering how its advice might best support progress within the established framework, the court should not deviate from longstanding principles of international law, including with respect to the law of belligerent occupation. As set out in the written submissions of the United States, international law does not provide for an occupation itself to be rendered unlawful or void, based either on its duration or on any violations of occupation law. Under international humanitarian law, a belligerent occupation is established when the customary international law standard reflected in Article 42 of the Hague IV regulations is satisfied. The fact of an occupation is the basis for the occupying power to exercise its authority over occupied territory.
It does. It simply does. Every single time. It has been doing that for fucking 75 years, dude. This is a joke, man. This is a fucking joke.
The fact of an occupation is also the basis for the application of the legal rights and duties applicable to an occupying power.
See the way that every single person is looking at this guy? Like, every single person is looking at this guy with, like, what is this guy saying? Do you know what I mean? Is he really fucking saying that? You know? Completely fucking insane.
For example, the Fourth Geneva Convention prohibits an occupying power from transferring parts of its own civilian population into territory it occupies.
Right.
Even if an occupying power violates such a prohibition, as has been argued in this proceeding and as the court found in construction of a wall, the legal status of the occupation would not change as a consequence, because the occupation continues in fact. Importantly, this means that the protections of occupation law, including its protections for civilians, would continue to apply. We were surprised to hear that some have questioned in this proceeding the U.S. position on the illegality of acquisition of territory by the use of force. We have repeatedly stated our strong opposition to any unilateral attempts to change the peacefully established status of territories by force or coercion.
Yeah, you can say a lot of stuff, but it doesn't mean that you actually support that, does it? You can say all that stuff if you like, but it doesn't mean that you genuinely agree with it and believe it. You know, that's a concept called lying. Right, they're fine with Israel doing that, despite the things that they say. You know, it's just barefaced lying to the fucking court. If I was any one of these judges, I would be deeply insulted. I would be deeply insulted.
Anywhere in the world, and have reaffirmed that the acquisition of territory by force is prohibited. And as our written statement made clear, in reference to this and other situations, the Security Council and the General Assembly have declared that any actions to change the status of occupied territory are null and void and do not affect the continued application of the Fourth Geneva Convention.
Right.
With respect to duration, international law does not impose specific time limits on an occupation. That said, belligerent occupation is a temporary measure for administering territory under the control of belligerent armed forces. A few days ago at the Munich Security Conference, Secretary Blinken...
This is incredibly, like, frustrating for a number of reasons, right? And I think the main thing that we're seeing here is that the US is currently aware that the entire world is against it. In its support of Israel, at least. Yeah? And so this guy has been given the difficult job. And it is a difficult job, I will say that. of trying to word a presentation about this particular stuff to a court of judges and a bunch of people, literally every single person who's looking at this motherfucker in this room going, you slimy, horrible fucking cunt. Yeah? He's got to do this presentation and somehow appeal to the fact that everybody knows that this is the worst thing that's ever happened. It has been for like 75 years. Absolutely disgusting. It's got to stop. And he's got to somehow word it in a way that means that he and the country that he represents are allowed to continue advocating for it. Yeah? But he's got to have some little bits in there to be like, well, they're doing some naughty stuff. Well, they're being kind of, boys will be boys, but make it Israel, you know?
We can emphasize that it is more urgent than ever to proceed to a Palestinian state.
The entire world and the better chunk of its own population. Yeah, for real.
It makes the necessary commitments to do so. In light of these considerations...
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to the Palestinians. We're not going to help them because they're a security risk. Right, that's exactly what they're saying.
Conditionally withdraw from occupied
You did follow us, and that rocks. You should consider writing into Red Planet.
Before it within the established framework based on the Land for Peace principle and within the parameters of established principles of occupation.
No, I don't have any sympathy. No, I want to express that when I said that it was a difficult task, I wasn't trying to express any kind of sympathy that I have for this man. I think he's disgusting. I think he should resign. I think he should go and live his life in isolation for the rest of his days, never show his face in public again. What a fucking piece of shit, twat, cunt. There's more things I could say about him, but I won't.
Mr. President, members of the court, as I said at the outset, you have a difficult task before you. Others have asked you to broadly construe the questions and the law. They have asked you to try to resolve the whole of the dispute between
That's right, PBP.
Through an advisory opinion addressed to questions focusing on the acts of only one party. The United States disagrees with that this approach would be consistent with the court's role within the United Nations or the established UN framework for achieving peace through negotiations. Hamas's attacks, hostage-taking, and other atrocities.
Hamas mentioned.
The ongoing hostilities and the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza, and the violence in the West Bank.
Yeah, superficial, yeah, I agree.
The United States resolved to urgently
that's right,
achieve a final peace that includes the full realization of Palestinian self-determination. The current crisis illustrates the vital need to achieve this peace, this final peace, with a Palestinian state living safely and securely alongside a secure Israel.
Secure Israel.
Into the region.
What every single person who claims that Israel needs to be secure and has security issues fails to understand, yeah, is that there can be no such thing as peace while Israel exists. Yeah, safely and securely in a threatening tone. Israel is simply not a state that wants peace. It doesn't want peace. The reason that it is doing what it is doing now and has done for 75 years is because it is not interested in peace. It is interested in ethnic cleansing. It is a state founded on ethnic cleansing and genocide. And when you have a state that's founded on that shit, looking at you, the USA, as well, you know, lots of other states in Latin America, then you can't really, like, there's only one thing that ends with, and that's with indigenous people having their entire self-determination taken away. The same thing is the case for every single indigenous nation in you know, what's known as the USA and Latin America now, and Canada. So, you know. Anyway, listen, chat, I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. So I won't be long. Back in a tick. right. We're back. Let's crack on.
As Secretary Blinken said, quote, we're not going...
Only one state has nuclear weapons and was given material enough for nuclear bombs to make civilization as it currently is improbable. Yet it is their safety that is of paramount importance, and it is this rogue state that must be defended as per the US and really Canada. Yeah, that's what they're saying, yeah? The US isn't even going to be punished by a court. Yeah, that's right.
We have durable security for Israel unless and until Palestinian political aspirations are met, end quote.
Are you going to be streaming that tarot card Palestine thing? Yo, everybody go. Are you going to be doing it on Twitch? Everybody go follow Birdie and you post that in self promo. I got to tag you as like a streamer in the Discord. I can do that. Hold up.
Lack of meaningful progress on a negotiated end to the conflict and establishment of peace between the parties and for the region cannot and must not persist. The Security Council and General Assembly continue to make clear their support for the two-state solution and the established framework to fulfill it. This conflict cannot be resolved.
Yo, what's going on, Uncut? Yeah, I'm not sure, like, I'm just, I could completely understand if you are, like, GRT, and that's the word that you want to use for yourself, and it's a bit fucked that, people are trying to tell you to, like, not use that. So, I completely empathize with that, but there is also the fact that if you, like, have that name, your account might just get banned by Twitch in general. I don't know how Twitch see that shit, you know what I mean? So, unfortunate situation that's pretty racist. Yet again, another situation where I actually like one of the reasons why I encourage people to sub off Twitch, you know what I mean? So
through violence or unilateral actions. Negotiations are the path to lasting peace. For these reasons,
so no, you won't be banned immediately for your name. You're Romani, yeah, cool. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Like, it's a bit like,
encourage the court to carefully calibrate its advice in this proceeding to support and promote final realization of peace and stability within the established UN framework set out in Security Council Resolutions 242 and 338. Mr. President, members of the court, this concludes the oral statement of the United States. I thank you for your kind attention.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Get fucked. Yeah, load of shit. Load of actual shit. Well, chat, we got mad at that at this one bit. So now it's time to get mad at some more stuff relating to this. Yeah, we're gonna take a look at some Twitter stuff real quick. Cuts News Network here reporting on Israeli soldiers, women Israeli soldiers taking a selfie on the ruins of the widespread destruction in Gaza. Extremely insane, yeah? Extremely insane. It's so painful being here in the US sometimes. My country's so disgusting. We experience a vast privilege in our countries. Do you know what I mean? A massive fucking privilege. And I know that it sounds hard it feels strange, and it's hard to try and reckon with the fact that we're privileged when we're working class in these countries. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? But we do. It's a privilege, that we experience through the subjugation of people in countries like Palestine. You know what I mean? So I do get what you're saying. But, that pain that we feel is more often than not a lot less than we would feel if we were somewhere like Palestine, So let's talk a little bit, just very quickly, about the vote that was supposed to go on today. So let's have a little look at this. We got the Metro here. Katie Boyden from the Metro. Let's zoom in real quick. MPs have voted to call for an immediate ceasefire. Oh, fuck off, please. Just work normally. Voted to call for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza after a day of political wrangling between Labour and the SNP. The UK government voted on Wednesday after Commons Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle selected amendments by both Labour and the Conservatives to the SNP's ceasefire motion. SNP MPs walked out of the chamber over the chaos caused by the Speaker's decision, and Sir Lindsay has faced calls to resign. Cool. Very, very good. I haven't really gone out and seeked to learn much at all about the Palestine thing that's been going on the past 6 months-ish. Well, now is your opportunity to do so. SNP MPs walked out of the chamber over the chaos caused by the Speaker's decision, and Sir Lindsay has faced calls to resign. Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him. The Labour amendment pushing for an immediate ceasefire was approved by the House of Commons. The movement Labour MPs were able to vote for Stay Calmer's updated stance. Always updating his stance. The ghoulish coverage of Willie's big wobbly waffling about there'll be too much killing now. Who's Willie? What are you on about? I don't know who that is. The SNP's motion, which called for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages held by Hamas, and an end to the collective punishment of the Palestinian people, was also passed. Labour also called for an immediate ceasefire, emphasising that this involves both sides agreeing to lay down their arms and the return of all hostages taken by Hamas, and calling for a diplomatic process to achieving a two-state solution and lasting peace. Prince William? Oh no. Thank you for the follow. We got more Prince William Palestine. Oh dude. Prince William's Gaza plea raises question of foreign office input. This was yesterday? Oh, it's Talk TV. Fuck this shit, man. Fuck this shit. We don't got any, like, YouTube videos of this? Talk TV. Prince William has waded into the discourse on Israel on TikTok. GB News. Queen Elizabeth would not have approved of William's entry into the dangerous waters over Palestine. Conservatives are fucking mad, dude. None of us are, you know, none of us are trying to say that, like, we want to hear what Prince William's got to say. You know what I mean? Essentially, Israel is a state that's colonizing and genociding Palestinians with the full support of the United States. It's pretty upsetting when you really learn about it. Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah. I know. I'm aware. It's horrible. But, you know, the same is true for the UK. UK sends millions of pounds every year to Israel. And the ties that our country has with Israel and the companies that operate here are fucking disgusting, you know? Absolutely vile. Let's see what we got to say.
It's a new statement from the Prince of Wales. Let me read it out to you in full. It's just arrived here at Sky News, and it reads as follows. I remain deeply concerned about the terrible human cost of the conflict in the Middle East.
Conflict mentioned.
Hamas terror attacks on the 7th of October.
Hamas terror attacks 7th October.
Have been killed. I, like so many others, want to see an end to the fighting as soon as possible. There is a desperate need for increased humanitarian support to Gaza. It's critical aid gets in and the hostages are released. Sometimes it is only when faced with the sheer scale of human suffering that the importance of permanent peace is brought home. Even in the darkest hour, we must not succumb to the counsel of despair. I continue to cling to the hope that a brighter...
These motherfuckers don't live in reality, man. Just simply do not live in reality at all. Yeah, why have they been fighting, Will? Why did Hamas do what they did? You know? Oh, why did they do what they did, dude?
The future can be found.
Council of Despair sounds like the UN. It does.
On that. That is a statement from William the Prince of Wales. laying out just how concerned he is about the ongoing crisis in Gaza.
Well, fuck that. Excuse me. What a load of shit. Actually don't care, Prince William, about what you have to say about Gaza. That's right, Joe. What's up, Joe? I'm sure it happened entirely in a vacuum without 100 years of colonial occupation. Yeah, that's right. You know what, chat? I gotta do something real quick. Hold up. Yeah, he literally has the power to stop it, right? Prince William is one of those people who literally has the power to stop it. It's clearly unfair to expect an intelligent response from an unfit who was born into his position privilege. We should do the merciful thing and abolish the monarchy, release him from the responsibility of managing things like the Duchy of Cornwall and the immense stolen wealth and historical artifacts. You know what, Anomdinet? That's a controversial opinion, but I agree with it. I agree with it. Yeah, hold up. Let me just do this real quick. I have a feeling that this is going to be fine. Gotta do this real quick, because otherwise I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Okay. Just trying to be nice. There's no need for that. By Jove, I think he's got it. What's going on here? Come on, refresh for me. I'm just trying to refresh this fucking... Okay, here we go. I think I fixed it. Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. I fixed it. Oh, this is so good, chat. Welcome back. Welcome back. Clear articles with no interruptions. Anyway, here we go. Labour also called for an immediate ceasefire and both sides agreeing to lay down their arm. Shut up! Government amendment, which would have only been voted on if the Labour amendment fell, stated that ministers want immediate humanitarian pause in the fighting before supporting moves towards a permanent sustainable ceasefire, but the Labour and SNP divisions went through without division, meaning each individual MP's vote wasn't recorded, causing anger amongst MPs across all parties who wanted their vote put on the record. A similar motion tabled by the SNP in November saw the 10 shadow ministers and parliamentary aides rebel to back an immediate ceasefire, with 56 Labour members defying a three-line whip and backing an amendment to the King's speech. There was uproar at Sir Lindsay's decision to choose the Labour amendment for debate in the House of Commons. There were cries of shameful and bring back Burko, as Sir Lindsay set out his reasoning behind the selecting both the Prime Minister and Sir Keir's amendments to the SNP motion. Sir Lindsay, who was first elected as a Labour MP but followed tradition following his election as Speaker by relinquishing his party affiliation, explained that he wanted MPs to have the widest possible range of options on what he said was a highly sensitive subject on which feelings are running high. Fuck him, actually. So, this is a load of shit. Before the vote, there was this very cool thing being projected onto the Tower of Big Ben. Stop bombing Gaza. Ceasefire now. Massive demonstration going on near Parliament. Stop the bombs. There you go. There you fucking go. So. You gonna go to bed now? No worries, Falotters. That's fine. I unfortunately think that might be the case for me very soon as well. I don't think we're going to actually get to the... to this load of shit. I think we'll have to save this for tomorrow. Norman Finkelstein versus Rabbi Shmuley. Otherwise, it's going to be another 5-hour stream. And yeah, I just... I got to hit the hay. But listen, chat, you know, there's only been one £5 dono today. There's only been one £5 dono today. And I gotta say, we're so close to the midway point of the stream that I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah? Literally, 3 £5 donos. And that will take us to the midway point of the stream. Please consider subbing off Twitch. Please consider supporting the stream. It means I can pay my bills. It means I can pay my rent. I can keep doing this job that I love doing. You know? Please consider all of that. Hey, Zanixie, how's it going? Just dropping in to see what's going on. Also completely feeling the pull of sleep. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Right, what was I looking at here? Not this tab. Wanted to find... No, you know what? I did want to go to YouTube. I did, because I wanted to see if there was more coverage of the vote. Because essentially what it sounded like... Parliament fiddles as Gaza burns. Okay, so Owen Jones has done a video about this. He's a fucking knobhead, but we're gonna see...
Should have been...
We're gonna at least get the frank ins and outs of what's going on from Owen. So you know he's a liberal twat, but whatever. Let's listen to him.
An important, historic even, somber occasion when after over 36,000 Palestinians have been slaughtered, including over 14,000 children.
36,000, man.
36,000. An orgy of genocidal violence, and after many months of protesting and campaigning, with public opinion overwhelmingly in support of an immediate ceasefire and against Israel's military onslaught, which has been unleashed against the people of Gaza since October 7th. The political establishment of the UK finally, perhaps dragged kicking and screaming, but there nonetheless, to demand that this horror finally must stop. But instead, the House of Commons descended into chaos. Why? Because of grubby, cynical and disgraceful machinations by soulless, heartless political climbers, nope, not gonna pull my punches here, whose track record already demonstrably shows they have no interest.
You know what? I'm hoping that this radicalizes him. I'm hoping that all this shit radicalizes him. And he becomes the fucking, you know, the radical communist anarchist reporter that we really want him to be. You know, I'm hoping that that's what happens.
In Palestinian life, or indeed anything meaningful except seeking power for its own sake.
I'm hoping the Jones boy goes sicko mode, you know?
The Tory government, as you'll be aware, has backed Israel's mass slaughter of Gaza from the start. That matters. Why? Because the UK arms Israel and uses its diplomatic power to support Israel. Not least given the UK has a place on the UN Security Council, for example, and is the closest ally, purportedly at least, of the US, which of course is Israel's key protector. Now, the Tory government has been protected by the Labour opposition, which has backed them all the way, forming a shield around the government as public opinion has hardened against the mass slaughter of innocent Palestinians. So the Tories didn't come under pressure because the Labour leadership decided...
I need to see it, Joe. I need to see the jokification.
Instead, just to sing the same tune. The SNP, on the other hand, and I speak here as a Scottish National Party for international audiences, I speak here as someone who's not a Scottish nationalist, they took a different position. Undoubtedly...
Owen, why are you so cringe, bro? Why are you not a Scottish nationalist? That is so incredibly cringe, bro. He's got the most shit political opinions when it comes down to it. He's such a weak-ass, cowardly lib. Fucking get a backbone, bro.
Influenced by the SNP's solid...
I'm not a Scottish nationalist. Why? What good is Westminster doing Scotland? Just like a fucking... Shut up.
Record when it comes to foreign policy calamities, such as the Iraq War. A clue. The SNP was right about that. The faction now running the Labour Party, many of whom would...
That's true. 2 letters difference between Jones and Joker. Exactly, yeah.
Well, they were wrong, to say the least. It's also notable that the SNP leader, Humza Yousaf, has a Scottish Palestinian partner, that their loved ones were trapped in Gaza for weeks, causing them unimaginable worry and anxiety and stress, that his brother-in-law is a doctor working for Gaza's ruined healthcare system, risking his life in the most impossibly unimaginable conditions. That is a personal stake in a principled stance. We'll come on to that. Now, as per parliamentary tradition, opposition parties are allotted what are known as opposition days, in which they are able to set the agenda to raise issues of importance to them. The SNP, as a smaller opposition party than the Labour, rarely gets such days. So the SNP used that rare opportunity to table a motion on a ceasefire. And it was a motion that was very clear. Let's just read it. That this House calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and Israel. Notes with shock and distress that the death toll has now risen beyond 28,000, the vast majority of whom were women and children. Further notes that there are currently 1.5 million Palestinians sheltering in Rafah, 610,000 of whom are children. Also notes that they have nowhere else to go. Condemns any military assault on what is now the largest refugee camp in the world. Further calls for the immediate release of all hostages taken by Hamas and an end to the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. And recognises that the only way...
I reckon that's probably the most positive ceasefire motion that could ever be presented in Parliament as it currently exists. It's not good, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good considering everything, yeah?
To stop the slaughter of innocent civilians is to press for a ceasefire now. Spot on. Absolutely spot on. Now, this weekend, Scottish Labour held their conference in Glasgow and passed a motion which demanded a ceasefire. And Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, said this.
An end to the fighting, not just now, not just for a pause, but permanently. A ceasefire.
An end to the fighting, a pause, not just a pause, a ceasefire. A ceasefire.
That lasts, conference, that is what must happen now. The fighting must stop now.
Like, it's fucking disgusting that this twat went up to Scotland and was like, ceasefire now. And within 2 days was like, actually, what I want is a humanitarian pause. Again, I want one of those humanitarian pauses where Israel still bombs the fuck out of Gazans and Palestinians, and Israeli settlers wantonly murder and rape Palestinian women and children in the West Bank. I want that instead. Like, you know, you fucking absolute cunt. I cannot stand this man.
Now, given Starmer had begun all of this by supporting Israel cutting water and energy from the civilians of Gaza, a war crime, hey, that's progress at least. So, you'd expect, maybe there's a chance to just put party politics aside, vote for the ceasefire motion. So then we hear Shadow Health Minister Wes Streeting on Monday, who generously took off time from his preparing Labour's plans to further privatise the NHS, and he told the BBC this.
We're not going to be pushed around by the SNP.
Not pushed around by the SNP. Well, you can see who's playing games there, can't you? You can see what's really going on. So then Labour published their own amendment. It was just a mess, a mealy-mouthed mess. Crucially, immediate...
Let's take a look at this. Below is the full text of Labour's amendment. It's not clear what Labour would do on the SNP motion if their amendment does not pass. That this House believes that an Israeli ground offensive in Rafah risks catastrophic humanitarian consequences, therefore must not take place. Notes the intolerable loss of Palestinian life, the majority being women and children, condemns the terrorism of Hamas, who continue to hold hostages, supports Australia, Canada, and New Zealand's call for Hamas to release and return all hostages for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire, which means an immediate stop to the fighting and a ceasefire that lasts and is observed by all sides, noting that Israel cannot be expected to cease fighting if Hamas continues with violence, and Israelis have the right to the assurance of the horror of 7th October cannot happen again. Well, you should try saying that to the Israeli Defense Force, dude. You should try telling the IOF that. Don't do what you did on October the 7th again, by which I mean don't fucking murder all your own civilians. Don't, get your generals to hide underground while their troops get fucking slaughtered because they're only used to literally sniping children from the protection of a massive tower overseeing a large open-air prison. They're not used to any actual combat whatsoever. You know what I mean? It just sickens me, the framing of all of this. It sickens me, the fucking framing of all of this. Even this, amendment is just so sickening. Disgusting framing. Demands that a rapid and unimpeded humanitarian relief is provided in Gaza. Okay, well, you know, probably not going to happen if there's a quote-unquote humanitarian pause. Yeah, keep on bombing, but a pause on the war crimes for a bit. Yeah, it's just so dumb. Urges Israel to comply with the International Court of Justice provisional measures. Calls for the UN Security Council to meet urgently. They met on Monday. What do you think the UN is going to do? They're going to sit there and the US is going to go, nah, that's not happening, champ. You know? Urges all international partners to work together to establish a diplomatic process to deliver the peace of a two-state solution with a safe and secure Israel. Again, same shit as the US. Safe and secure Israel. Safe and secure Israel. Nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense, dude. I fucking hate this shit so much, man.
Becomes immediate humanitarian ceasefire, smacking more of its original stance of a humanitarian pause. That is, you cease the killing for a bit, then you resume it again. And it inserts wording as well, which defers to the terms of Israel. It had welcome components, that Palestinian statehood
this
is
too, you know,
the right of the Palestinian people and not the gift of any neighbour, for instance. Though, given Israel has no intention whatsoever of ever allowing the Palestinians to have their own state, what pressure is Labour prepared to actually put on Israel? Well, not,
yeah,
but that's for no
it's
reason.
toothless.
Crucially, the motion stripped away the term collective punishment. Now, that is the bare minimum of describing what Israel has done to the people of Gaza. Nobody in their right mind who isn't just a dupe of Israel could possibly believe anything other than collective punishment on a mass scale has taken place and is taking place because of the Israeli state.
Yeah.
As ITV's Robert Peston reported, who is very reliably plugged in these circles, Keir Starmer hates the SNP's charge that Israel is engaging in the collective punishment of Palestinians. Here's the thing. Labour's amendment should not have been selected by the Speaker. That is parliamentary convention. Protocol means the government's amendment is selected to be voted on. So instead, Starmer faced a massive rebellion because he was not going to back the SNP amendment. Why? Overwhelmingly, because he could not countenance voting for a motion which held Israel responsible for collective punishment.
Yeah.
But his amendment wasn't going to get selected.
It's because you know, the Labour Party will lose a lot of donations from Labour Friends of Israel, you know? That's what it is. That's why it is. It all comes down to money, gang.
So that would be
every single fucking time.
A huge number of his own side were going to go and vote for the SNP motion instead. So imagine everyone's surprise when the Speaker suddenly selects Labour's amendment. Hence, uproar.
I have therefore decided to select the amendments both in the name of the Prime Minister and in the name of the Leader of the Opposition.
The Clerk of the House then came out to oppose such a move publicly, which is itself is pretty astonishing because of protocol and because he notes it doesn't extend the range of opinions. This argument, well, it lets everyone have a say. No, it doesn't. It prevents a vote on the SNP's motion. It means you just get a vote on the Labour motion. And given this is what...
I'm sick of these ghouls in this new Labour. It's just one of the most disgusting things to have happened to British politics ever. Yeah, the Tory opponents would get a massive cash boost as well. That's right. That's right.
Opposition days that the SNP has, that is outrageous. Clearly. So what's the explanation then? Why is protocol suddenly thrown out the window? Now, Nicholas Watt, political editor of BBC Newsnight, who's very well connected, said, senior Labour figures tell me that the Speaker was left in no doubt that Labour would bring him down after the general election unless he called Labour's Gaza amendment.
Whoa. Bring him down? The message was, you will need our votes to be re-elected as Speaker after the election with strong indications this would not be forthcoming if you fail to call the Labour amendment. No way, dude. This is corrupt as fuck. It's corrupt as fuck, man. My man didn't want to lose that nice speaker salary, you know? Speaker of the House fucking salary out here.
We'll need our votes to be re-elected as Speaker after election with strong indications this would not be forthcoming if he failed to call the Labour amendment.
Insane.
Now, this was then denied by Labour and the Speaker.
Insane.
They were hardly going to go, yeah, we blackmailed him, and he was hardly going to go, yeah, let them walk all over me. A Labour government is now inevitable because of the Tory self-destruction. The Speaker knows that, and the Speaker, he wants to keep the job. So that's what happened, to be very clear. Let's just be very, very clear about what's happened here. In order to protect Israel from the charge of collective punishment, the Labour leadership blackmailed the Speaker of the House of Commons by threatening to destroy his career unless he broke parliamentary protocol and trashed one of the very few opposition days given to the SNP. And in doing so, the Speaker, I would note, a former Labour MP from the right of the party, that is the faction who supports Keir Starmer, intervened in a partisan fashion to save Keir Starmer from the biggest rebellion of his leadership. You know what? Imagine the Conservatives had done something like that, like Boris Johnson. So-called centrist commentators and journalists, whatever you want to call them, they'd be spitting fire, blue murder. They would be combusting right now. They'd be going on about this as an assault on parliamentary democracy. Ah! But they're not doing that. No, my friends. This deeply cynical cohort of commentator who very much do not object to terrible things being done. They just object when they're on the receiving end. They don't happen to believe in very much at all. They're some of the most cynical people I've ever encountered. Now, they're spinning this as clever politics. The SNP got manoeuvred. Look how clever Labour is. I mean, some of these people think they're in West Wing. I think the West Wing has a lot to answer for, which is people who are going to level with you. Not the most kind of profound and intelligent and well-rounded individuals who think they're kind of West Wing spin doctors and hacks. Now, I'm sure you'll be aware of the term client journalist, long rightly used to describe journalists who just take lines from the Conservative government. Some people seem to think that this term only applies to hacks who get fed Tory lines. It doesn't. Client journalists include those who are clearly acting as outriders for the Starmer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So what happened
1000%.
amidst all of this? The SNP leader, Stephen Flynn, understandably made a furious speech about how his opposition day had clearly been run roughshod over.
Should the Labour Party's motion be carried, then the SNP's vote will not be held. Secondly, if I have read the clerk's letter to all members correctly, which was sent to the Speaker, this was a consequence that he was warned of. So can you please advise me, where on earth is the Speaker of the House of Commons? How do we bring him to that seat?
Oh, yeah.
Now, the government withdrew from the vote in protest at the Speaker's shenanigans because clearly the Speaker had intervened in a partisan way. And again, if it was the other way around, Labour would just do the exact same thing. Both the Tories...
So really cool, actually, that what's happened, yeah, is there's been some corrupt politics go on, and everyone was fucking pissed off. And as a result of it, there was no vote. There was no voting on any motion to do anything. So democracy has failed us yet again. It's not democracy, though, is it? It's this failed veneer of democracy, innit?
And the SNP walked out in protest. Now, the Speaker then went on to apologise, though the apology is weird.
And I've got to say, I regret how it's ended up. It was not my intention.
How else do you think this could have ended up, buddy? How else do you genuinely think this could have ended up? At all. Yeah? At all.
I wanted all to ensure they could express their views and all sides of the House could vote. As it was, in particular, the SNP were ultimately unable to vote on their proposition.
Is the British system a republic? Are you joking me right now? We were literally talking about the fucking prince before. We got a royal family. No, it's not a republic at all.
Regret, with the deepness, with my sadness.
What does the apology even mean? I mean, he was warned of what would happen. He knew, he must have known what was going to happen.
Absolutely he was, yeah.
Rare opportunity to have their party, their views heard, and thus their constituents. And in a parliamentary democracy like ours, which frankly is just rigged often in favour of, the people in charge of the day.
That's right, Owen. You're getting there, dude. You're getting there.
Let's just listen to Stephen Flynn's reply.
Mr. Speaker, whilst I acknowledge your apology, the reality is that you were warned by the clerks
Constitutional monarchy with a Westminster-style bicameral legislature. Yep. That's right, Nomdinet.
SNP not having a vote on our
AKA a joke.
very own opposition day.
Now, there's some gruesome stuff coming out of that wing of Labour Party that I would describe as the I'd sell my own mother on eBay for a parliamentary seat faction.
Yep.
Labour students mocked up a photo of Humza Yousaf, the SNP leader, with Rishi Sunak in his pocket. I don't even know how that works. With the accompanying...
What was that? Labour students, bedfellows again. What the fuck are you on about, bro?
With Rishi Sunak in his pocket. I don't even know how that works. With the accompanying text, bedfellows again. Now, Labour students historically has attracted some of the most comically one-dimensional caricatures of political climbers, not people you really want to spend more than 5 seconds with. But what are they even talking about here? Labour spent months backing the Conservative position on Gaza and shielding them from public pressure. In that time, Humza Yousaf's loved ones were trapped in Gaza, his brother-in-law is a doctor there, and he passionately opposed Israel's murderous onslaught. Meanwhile, the Tory and Labour positions were and remain virtually indistinguishable on Gaza.
Yeah.
The SNP offered an alternative, an immediate ceasefire, condemned collective punishment, and Labour wrecked it, ensuring a motion passed which causes the Tories no issues at all and silences the SNP's dissent. And it's the SNP who are the Tory stooges. I actually think, given what Humza Yousaf has gone through, is kind of sick.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
To the Palestinian ambassador to the UK, Hassan Zomlo.
Not only not a good day for the House of Commons, it's not a good day for the UK, it's not a good day for humanity. To see this chaos in the House of Commons, it's really British politics at its lowest. This is disgraceful and shameful that MPs are debating should they call for an immediate ceasefire after 100,000 Palestinians killed, maimed, injured.
Well, indeed. And what's even more obscene is the Speaker alluded to how he took the decision partly because of threats to MPs. And we've heard a lot of that from politicians and client journalists.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. The security of MPs has to be taken seriously. In the last 8 years, 2 MPs have been murdered and there have been other plots and threats. What is obviously happening here is the weaponisation of that issue to try and shield MPs from scrutiny of, for example, complicity in war crimes. That if you call out the role of our political elite in facilitating what Israel has done, that is, tone it down, you're inciting. And then also shutting down means of scrutiny and debate and democracy. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Starmer, his administration, comes in when he becomes inevitably Prime Minister because of Tory's self-destruction, looking to criminalise some forms of lobbying MPs on the basis it's some form of incitement. Because the real victims here aren't Palestinian babies having their heads ripped off, it's MPs having rude words thrown at them on Twitter.
Yeah,
Indeed,
that's how it's being framed.
What really matters in all of this. Let's listen to Jeremy Corbyn in the debate.
Use of unbelievable levels of ordnance.
Fuck me, Owen. Could you not, dude? Like, he does this all the time.
Destroying Gaza. Carpet bombing of the whole place. 29,000 bombs have been dropped on Gaza by the Israeli forces. By comparison, the US only dropped 4,000 bombs on Iraq during 5 years of that particular conflict. What we're seeing is the total destruction of society, life, and hope in Gaza.
If only the same moral clarity was now being heard from the masters of the Labour Party. And indeed, a parliamentary delegation has just returned from Sinai in Egypt, bordering Gaza. Let me just quote from this report. They say, nothing that has been reported braces you for the true scale of the horror in Gaza. We're simply not getting accurate information about the levels of destruction and brutality. Listening
That's right,
to
Zinixie.
humanitarians tell us that what they've witnessed in Gaza...
More bombs have been dropped pound for pound, right? If we're talking like weight, than were dropped on Britain during the Blitz in World War II on Gaza in 3 or 4 months. Not to fucking idolize Corbyn, but God, it would have been nice to have someone with a remotely normal brain as PM. Yeah, I mean, the CIA would have just fucking bombed him. There would have been a coup. That's what we have to remember. You know what I mean? That's what we have to remember. Yeah, it would have been nice for about 2 or 3 months. And then some fucking, like, radicalized, random, stochastic terrorist that the CIA would have been like, feeding. They would have taken control of his fucking, Twitter feed and shit, and just like constantly showing him Jeremy Corbyn and like all these like other radicalized, GB News, Fox News shit. Jeremy Corbyn makes everything woke. Jeremy Corbyn's coming for your kids. Jeremy Corbyn, blah, blah, blah. And then they would have just like conveniently put a gun outside of his gaff in it. Do you know what I mean? And been like, hey, son, why don't you use this? Tell you what, here's a helicopter, right? Some shit like that,
Makes it the worst.
There's no, I understand where you're coming from. I agree. You know what I mean? Do you know what it would be nice, right? It would be nice if we weren't lied to from the moment that we were born, that this country works in any kind of way in it. That's really what we're both upset about. Do you know what I mean? Hey, people over profits. Don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, that's right. If you're on YouTube. Yeah. What we want as Brits is to have not been lied to when we were kids, and when we're growing up, into thinking that this like country works and it's fair and it's like one of the most peaceful, nice countries in the world, and to have actually something that kind of works in democracy in this country, and people don't get fucked over and made homeless all the time. And suffer and shit like that. That would be what's really nice. And then maybe we could have a country that has a prime minister like Jeremy Corbyn. You know what I mean? Where like things are nice and fair and cool and good. But we don't have that. It was all a lie. It's a cheap veil that covers the true violent, horrific face of it all, which is cronyism, corruption, warmongering, and death. You know what I mean? That's the truth of it. And I think that, we owe it to the generations that come next to just keep exposing the truth of it. You know what I mean? So much so we get nostalgic, even though it was still shit back then. I remember thinking, right? I had no idea about this, but like fucking Section 28 is probably the main reason that I was never able to understand that I was queer, back when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Because I didn't even know that Section 28 was only repealed in 2003. And even then, it wasn't fully taken out of the law. There are still bits of Section 28 in legislation. And it's like, it wasn't even good back then. What am I fucking talking about? The AIDS crisis was still going on in the 90s when I was growing up. Northern Ireland was still having a fucking right time of it. In the 90s. Like, oh my fucking God.
Worst disaster they've ever seen.
Everything. And then the Iraq War, and oh my God, Tony Blair literally murdered 1 million Iraqis, should be in the fucking Hague. The
savagery befalling civilians. Aid workers repeatedly questioned why international law wasn't being followed or upheld in relation to civilians.
What a joke.
Humanitarians and medics. They also expressed a deep feeling of dread and inevitability of Israeli forces carrying out their threats.
Yep, that's exactly it, Zenixi.
A senior aid worker described Rafah as water in the bottom of a glass, with the pressure getting more and more intense. We learned about the lawlessness in Gaza, with Hamas police being killed and civilians getting increasingly desperate. Personally, I feel that unless something happens to stabilise the situation, the remaining UN support will withdraw, leaving Palestinians utterly alone. Politicians around the world need to demand an immediate end to the violence, full access for aid, and a long-term strategy to rebuild Gaza, both its infrastructure and its society. Well, sobering stuff, as it should be. That's what's really at stake here. That's what really matters. One of the great crimes of our age, facilitated by our elites. And yes, our political establishment is complicit in all of this. And one of the main problems with much of the British media is they pretend to be even more stupid than they actually are. Some of them are all like, what does this matter? It's just a parliamentary debate in the UK. It's totally irrelevant to what happens in Gaza and Israel. Why is everyone getting so angsty about it? Now, once again, to clarify, Britain arms Israel. Britain has a military agreement with Israel. The UK uses its diplomatic power to protect Israel. All of that matters a lot. And I find it striking that all of these people, they wouldn't be saying this about Ukraine and Russia, would they? Of course they don't. And they should just say it with their whole chest, some of them. You don't care about Palestinians.
I agree.
Obvious. You're not subtle about it. I mean, after this level of death and destruction, if you really cared about Palestinian life, you wouldn't be talking like this. Once again, we've seen the establishment close ranks. Both the media, or indeed most of it, and the world of politics. to defend an Israeli state engaged in one of the great atrocities of our time. And those who are complicit must be held accountable, democratically.
Yep. Oh, democratically, he says at the end there.
Please like, subscribe, do share this video.
All right. Nice one, Owen. Yeah. We got you, bro. We got you. Chat. Thank you so much for being here today. I know it's not been as long as it normally is, but I've gone on for as long as I can possibly go on for. I got to go to sleep. I'm up early in the morning. I got to do some stuff tonight. I got to make some bread. So bear with me. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the support today. It's been really cool. We're going to go ahead and raid Ugopnik. If you don't know who he is, he's a comrade. He's playing Helldivers 2. Everyone seems to be playing Helldivers 2, and I don't really know what it is. So, you know, if it's cool, let me know. Maybe I'll play it. I don't know. I might not stream it, but I don't know. We'll see. Here's a link to Ugopnik's Twitch in the YouTube chat. Go and check it out. Sip for Rusk. Welcome to the stream. Is this a bread tube stream? Oh my god. You got it. Heard it's pretty cool. Yeah. As I understand, it's just Starship Troopers. Oh, okay. That's why everyone's doing Starship Troopers discourse, yeah? Hey, well, listen, chat. I'll be back tomorrow. I should hopefully be going live a lot earlier than I did today, than I have over the last couple of days. So please, apologies for all that kind of stuff. If you can't stand 24 hours without little old me, check out my socials. They're all there in the chat. Gonna post them in the YouTube chat as well for everybody. Don't forget, if you're watching this VOD on the VOD channel, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for hanging out. Mwah. Peace.